Mama said don't talk to strangers. That's okay. We'll do it for you. Welcome to the Bar Talk Podcast, where we talk to interesting people doing interesting shit.
Or if he says something stupid, edit that out.
Or if I say something stupid. You have to understand
That's
that
likely.
I spend my days around dogs. I'm not socialized at all with people.
Did we capture that? Did we get that?
Yes, we did. That's going to be the promo.
That's good.
Awesome. This unsocialized girl came out of the woods.
So maybe you need a people trainer.
I do.
I don't think so. I think you're doing all right so far.
Okay, thank you.
You didn't jump on anyone. You haven't barked at anyone.
That's right.
Haven't been bitten yet.
That's right. I can suppress all that for you guys.
That's good. Hold it back. All right. Well, cheers, Lindsay.
Cheers.
Welcome. Episode 3.
Awesome.
Been really excited. Are we running on that? Yeah. Been really excited about this one. Looking forward to this one.
Yes, me too.
I'm a bit of a nerd of this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Ask me anything. It's awesome.
Well, to me, like, it's the similarities between, like, animal culture and human culture, and then the whole thing of how dogs and humans have, like, worked together for so long.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe our listeners know a lot about this kind of stuff, or maybe they're just new, but if you wanted, could you just give us, like, a brief overview of, like, how the whole dog-human thing came together in the first place?
Absolutely. So like up until like 50 years ago, all dogs were in a working relationship with a human, right? Like we've come so far away from that, and dogs really don't have much of a purpose anymore. They're house dogs, they're couch
practical
potatoes.
Purpose.
Yeah, right? So yeah, we came into each other's lives like let's say 30,000 years ago. Right? And we both wanted the same things out of life. We wanted companionship, and we wanted a purpose, and we wanted food.
Food, yeah.
So food really brought us together, right?
And it still does.
And it still does.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So like over the years, we started developing relationships, working relationships mostly with these dogs.
Starting 30,000 years ago, they're not dogs at that point.
No.
They're wolves.
Well, they are. There's
Yeah.
lots of like, evidence of like, I think over in, I don't know if it was Egypt, but they dug up a dog that had a leash attached to it, and then it was like a little girl skeleton. That was, so it was like they thought it was like 25,000 years ago, but it was actually 30,000 years ago that we first started our relationship with dogs.
Wow. And I guess they probably all wouldn't have been wolves. I mean, there's
No,
canine type animals all over the world,
Exactly,
right?
like the African dogs, like they were derived from wolves, but
Right.
yeah, maybe a little.
What are those ones in Africa that went extinct only in recent history?
I think it was like the African dog.
Yeah.
A lot of my training comes from the monks.
Oh, yeah.
I love the way they
Hey,
train.
my training comes from the monks, too.
And they talk a lot about the African dogs, and they use them as references a lot. So yeah, so they just how they migrated through Africa, and how that there was a leader. I mean, there could be lots of food around. They were bypassing lots of food, but it was the leader's choice of what food that they were going to go after. Right.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So I guess back to your question. So nowadays we've lost that. We don't have a working relationship with dogs, and now I'm flipping busy because dogs need purposes, and
Right.
and they're insecure and reactive, and there's just not a lot of guidance. Because,
Maybe not a lot different than us.
Exactly.
Because I would venture to think that humans have kind of lost a bit of purpose in recent history too.
Absolutely.
Like as we go from like hunter-gatherer farming, you have to perform to survive. You wake up in the morning. There's no question of what you do. 100 years ago, you got to get to work. You got to do your things, and you have a clear set of purpose. Now we're so wealthy, and we have food at the grocery stores, and we have everything we need, and I think we're a little bit lost sometimes.
I think so too.
With too much time to think about our fears and insecurities and problems and that kind of stuff, and it's an unnatural state for us because we evolved in this very different system.
Yeah,
and
we're not worn out at the end of the day.
Right.
We're not. We're not going to sleep at dusk, which
Yeah.
we would have done.
Right. Because like anxiety, mental health issues, depression, suicide. Those are like Western world things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Over there, like in Mongolia, like they're so happy, but it's such simple lives, right?
Right.
And that's exactly ultimately what I do for dogs is I try to I give them like, okay, you don't have to worry about the world because I have your back. Right?
Right, yeah. So like the structure with wolves, and I'm assuming many other wild dogs, there's like an alpha,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Right.
I would never tell anyone to be their dog's alpha, though.
No?
They know that we're not dogs. They know that
Right.
we're a creature
Right.
of some sort, but they know we're not dogs.
Right.
I would rather advocate for people to be a dog's guardian or leader or parent.
Same concept, kind
Exactly.
of.
Exactly.
But I think like it's like humans. If we're in a relationship, people are in a relationship, like a group. I mean, even military references or whatever. We need someone to kind of have some leadership.
Absolutely.
Someone strong and capable, provide, protect, but also generous enough with the group, and
Yeah.
people can respect that and feel secure
Yeah.
in that. And then I think if humans don't have that, there's chaos.
Exactly.
And if dogs don't have that,
It's
there's
chaos.
Yeah.
It's very much chaos. That's all they just, want authority and they want love in in a relationship with a human. And most of the times we're very one-sided. We're just given the love aspect
Right.
and we're not meeting the need on the other aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so easy, and I feel kind of like a meanie when people come to me with their dogs because I never talk about love because people have that handled,
Yeah.
that aspect handled. It's the other part, the authoritative part, the
Right.
being a parent and a guardian. They're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to make my dog upset with me. I'm like, it's okay. Like
Yeah.
it's parent. You have to tell her
It's
what's
parenting,
right.
yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so, if we didn't domesticate dogs, they would stay with their mother until they were 3. And then we're getting them at 8 weeks,
Wow.
and they're never seeing the floor. They're up in our beds, up in our couches, and they're just they're feral.
Yeah. So they need to learn a structure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mother. If they stay with their mother, they would control every aspect of their life until they were 3. Yeah, and here we are, just be like, do what you want. So much freedom, so much like chances to mess up. And
Just
then
like human kids as well, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you took a human kid away from its parents and had it around other creatures for a long time, it would be very different than.
It would be absolutely, and it's no different. Like dogs are feral now that are house dogs. Like they're,
So what's the definition of feral?
I guess, no leadership, being able to have a forwardness without curving to be like, is this okay? Like I'm gonna bark my head off at this
Right.
delivery driver, right?
Yeah.
It's like and like that's. And that to me, I take offense to it because they should bark 2 times. Of course, I'll never suppress a dog's voice, but then dogs are just natural alerters. We didn't breed them to like take down the delivery car
Right.
driver, right?
Right.
We bred them to like alert us that someone's here, and then
Yeah.
okay, it's our job to take control of that situation. Thanks for letting me know. But
Yeah.
once they start barking, going into that 3rd bark, you can see their state of mind change. They go from alerting to controlling,
Yeah.
and then their intensity goes up, and so
And that's not really their job, or it shouldn't be their job.
no,
Yeah.
it's stress for them because they're
Right.
like, well, no one has the situation handles, and we might
Yeah.
die, so like
The anxiety, yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. So like my understanding of how the human dog interaction started was like wolves following hunters, maybe
Yes.
picking up some scraps on the edge of camp.
Exactly.
Right? Some animal bones or something like that. And then there might have been a bit of the more gentle wolves would stay closer.
Yep.
And the more gentle humans might interact with them a little bit more. Because, I mean, humans can be pretty savage as well. You know,
Yep.
probably take out an animal. So somewhere along the way, there was some more timid, more gentle wolves coming in contact with more gentle humans.
Yep.
And then they had this relationship where the wolves are kind of guarding the perimeter of a camp. And then if some other predator comes near, then the wolves would alert the humans. And then that's kind of the role, right?
Absolutely.
So we're kind of symbiotic here. We're benefiting from each other. And then if another predator comes, I'll warn you, you got my back, I got your
Yeah.
back. That's how this
Yeah,
I think
no.
starts, right? And then
Yeah.
it's the same with my Shih Tzu. When an Amazon driver comes, he's like, "Ah, shit,
I got this handled.
I got this handled."
Have you
Well,
ever-
my dog's pretty good. He will like bark, like say, like once or twice, just yep, yep, and then
And
if he sees that I've got it, he's cool.
That's perfect. That's
Yeah, it's
the
great.
ideal relationship.
Nothing worse than a little dog that just won't shut up.
Oh my God, they keep me in business.
Well, good for you.
No.
Amazon drivers must love you. You should get a sponsorship from Amazon.
Right?
Speaking of, we're on Amazon podcast now.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
Just
All
last
right.
night, yeah.
All right.
Amazon, Apple, Spotify, YouTube.
Good for you. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's fun.
This is so amazing.
We're just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, I love it. I
It's
love
fun.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's great. I was, I know dogs. I know them well, but this was like totally outside my comfort zone. But I thought it would be a good chance to, to grow and to go outside my comfort zone and, preach the good word.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been following you on Instagram for a while. I met
Yes.
you here at the restaurant a while ago, years ago now, and following you on Instagram. And you have a lot of really good content on there, like helping people.
Thank you. And that's ultimately what I want to do in this life is
Yeah.
just to be able to, close the gap of communication and
Yeah.
to spread the word of, being your dog's guardian, not so much their best friend.
Right.
I sound not very fun, but it's true. It's what they need.
Well, you need to have the discipline before you have the fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to follow you, tell them your Instagram handle.
It's dog trainer Lindsay. Is it Linny or Lindsay? My nickname's Linny. Sometimes I say
I think it's Lindsay.
It's okay.
on
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Yes.
Great content. Like you can tell that I mean, it's marketing, right? Social media is marketing, but
Yeah.
also like you're just giving away free information too, because it seems like you really want to help people.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. No, social media is so strong. Like I do board and train programs where dogs stay with me for 21 days, and the last set of dogs I had all came from social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like I like what you got going on, and
Yeah.
I would like my dog to come. And yeah, I'm so grateful. Social media can be so powerful, but it can be so intimidating that you have the ears and the eyes of so many people, and there's so many judgments.
Yeah, don't worry about the judgments.
I know,
We don't
right?
listen to the judgments.
I know.
We're going to
It's-
post and ghost around here.
Okay.
People can, I don't know. It's always the most critical people that aren't doing anything themselves.
All right, they have
Keyboard
time. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine going and like bashing people. Like who has
Yeah.
time for that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's always the most insecure people that attack. And you
Yeah.
said something recently, like it's always the most insecure dogs that bite.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
it's
go.
very true. The more insecure a dog is, the more apt they are to bite
Yeah.
because they're in fight or flight mode, right? Like they're just like So if they're backed up in the corner, they probably will bite.
So huge respect for you for jumping into this whole thing. And just what's the background on it? How did you get from,
Doing
how did you even get into this?
So
How did you make it a career? Tell us the story, because that's something I want to promote on this podcast. It's like taking our hobbies or interests and turning it into a career. Like take that risk,
Okay.
jump in there. Tell us the story how you got
into
to here.
so
Yeah.
I just a little deep, I guess. I lost my faith in humans pretty early on.
That's fair. Yeah.
I was 9 years old. I got diagnosed with anxiety then, and my parents divorced, and my dad had this I had an evil stepmom, terrible, and so I would come home from school, and it was awful home environment, and I just confided into dogs and horses. Like I would just go straight to the barn. I wouldn't even go to the house, just straight to the barn. That was my refuge. That was where I felt safe. And since I was a really quiet person, I just always really took in movements and what they were saying with their body, and really, really took that in. And at the time, I thought dogs were easy, my dad and I grew up with my father. My dad and I always had horses, and we always had a dog that was never on leash. We would be, on horseback with this dog that never left our side. I just thought that all dogs were good. And then when I graduated from high school, I went to Ontario and I trained racehorses. I trained racehorses for Woodbine.
Wow.
So do you guys know Northern Dancer?
No.
So Northern Dancer was the first racehorse in Canada that won the Triple Crown.
Okay.
So I worked for that establishment, and then they trained horses for Woodbine. And then I soon discovered that working for rich people sucks. like stupid rich people.
Yeah. Well.
Like stupid rich people are like, why can't you train my horse to run a second faster?
Yeah.
I'm just like, this horse, he's maxed.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So then I moved to Alberta and I started just training backyard horses. And then I started working with this gentleman that was a dog behaviorist, and he had horses that he was having trouble with. And he's like, why are you training horses? You should be training dogs. I'm like, dogs are easy, right? Like,
Yeah. Who has trouble with a dog?
I know, like, right? Like horses, I'm not training these massive beings to listen to me and to,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, dogs were like easy. And he's like, no, actually people have problems with them. People are having a hard time with them. And back then I was 19. So like, yeah, almost 18 years ago. The behavior issues that we have today with dogs they didn't exist back then. We've gotten softer in the last 10 years.
I think not just with dogs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I
not
think
just
we've
dogs.
gotten softer in many aspects.
Right? So
Yeah.
so he kind of opened my eyes to relationships with dogs, and he kind of took me under his wing, but he's like, yeah, you can work for me, but I'm only going to charge you $9 an hour in Alberta. I mean, that's big money town. I was like, oh, that doesn't seem right. So I stuck with him for a little bit, and then I went to PetSmart, started training dogs there. And then I was like, oh my God, this is really positive. Like, just throw treats at them and all the behaviors go away. Like, this doesn't happen in our society. We don't get pulled over by the police for speeding and giving candy.
We should
That'd be
change
good,
that.
though.
We should definitely change
We
that.
should definitely change that. Write that shit down. That's a good.
You get some Starbursts if you.
Just slow this wagon down. There's a starburst for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I speed when I'm hangry, so
That's true.
Right? Yeah. So it could really work for you.
yeah.
So I didn't like the whole positive reinforcement thing. I thought, like, we don't learn that way. Dogs definitely don't learn that way. You spend, any time with a mother and her young, like, she's not giving them hot dogs for good behaviors.
Don't?
No.
I taught my kids potty train with M&Ms.
But
I mean, Lucas is 19. He still needs candy to go to the bathroom, but I mean.
That's totally different. Obedience, I will throw all the treats at the dogs. When I'm teaching them something, when it comes to when you're trying to mask a bad behavior with.
Oh, right. Yeah, you don't reinforce that with snacks.
No.
No, yeah.
No.
There you go.
So yeah, when it comes to training a dog, all the positive. When it comes to reprimanding a dog,
Right.
yeah, you gotta have to make it suck to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that with people too.
Yeah, you have to be consistent, I guess, like you do with kids. You can't just
Yeah.
change from one day to the next. You can't
Right.
be
Consistency.
You have to be like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Behavior.
it takes 2-3 days for a dog to be untrained. So I have to tell people you have to fit this into your everyday life. And the things I say, it's just lifestyle changes. It's not like you have to go and do like an hour of obedience training. Like, you just fit it into your everyday life. It's
like anything. You got to get better at it and do it. You got to actually put the reps.
the
in.
work
You
in.
have to,
Yeah.
And I wonder if a lot of people are getting pets, dogs, without really understanding the amount of work that goes into it.
I know.
Oh, 100. Yeah. I see.
Getting a puppy is like a lot of work, but you're shaping that dog from a puppy. Like Ralphie, I got him as a very young puppy.
Ralphie's being so good over there.
He's a good boy, yeah.
He's just having a little nap.
He is, he's chill.
It's like he's been here every day.
But then when you're rescuing a dog that's had trauma or anything like that, it's going to be a whole other ballgame.
But it's so easy, though.
Is it?
They
To me,
just
it
need-
intimidates me.
They just need leadership. So usually when dogs come up from, let's say, Texas or up north and at the reserves, they're usually, when they come home, when they come to their new owner, they're usually a saint for about a month. They're neutral.
Okay.
And then
Yeah,
they're
what's
like, oh, you're really weak.
Ah.
I have
Because
no
they're
one to
feeling
have.
insecure in a new environment.
Yep.
Kind of taking a back seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, you're not really controlling my life. I need to step up and control my own life.
Sizing you up.
But so I ask the question all the time, were these behavior issues present when you first brought the dog home? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, no, this dog was awesome. It came about, 3 months after or a month after.
Wow.
And then that's when they started to see, oh, this new leader is not a leader.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, we don't have any of those in this country.
Oh, okay. So they get really insecure and they're like, oh my gosh, no one has my back. I need to step up and be forward in life. I need to react. Basically, they're in fight or flight
Right.
if there's no one that has their back.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're nervous and they're anxious and they're going to act out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everything's a scene.
Right.
Yeah, everything's like potential risk of death.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're given too much love and not enough.
Because they don't feel like someone has their back.
Exactly. Dogs are simple. They're so simple,
Well,
really.
humans are simple too, I think. We like to think we're more complicated than we really are. But the basic needs are the same.
It's
same
very,
things.
yeah. No. It's interesting. So going back to like PetSmart and stuff. So I did that, and then I started taking my dog psychology, and it just completely opened up my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, it completely opened up my eyes, and I recommend anyone that wants to be a dog trainer to take dog psychology. So it just goes back to like how they interacted and how they interact with their mother. And anyway, so that opened up my eyes, and that's how I came back from Alberta, and I bought a house with my ex-husband, and I started a dog training business
Here in Nova Scotia.
here in Nova Scotia.
You've been in business how long now?
Almost 18 years.
Wow, really?
Isn't
I
that
didn't know it was
crazy?
that long.
Yeah, ever since I was 19. I'm
Wow.
almost 37. So does that math add up?
I don't know.
We're not mathematicians. We don't
Yeah,
pretend to be.
no. I just throw numbers out there and
throw
hope
num-
no one calculates. Like, oh yeah,
As long
the math,
as you give back the same amount of dogs you took in, whatever the math is.
right.
Started with 9 dogs, finished with 9 dogs, we're good.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, no, I don't do 9 dogs. When I first started, I was like, I don't even know where I got that energy from. Sometimes I had 10 dogs in my house training,
That's a lot.
and now I just do a max of 4.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got that energy.
Oh, we're young and silly and
I
just
know,
take on
right?
too much stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I look at my I still have the planners from when I was in my 20s about like what, and I was like, geez, I was working like 14-hour days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I do that now, but because the dogs are with me
Right.
all day, right?
Yeah.
So, but
You're just hanging out, chilling, watching Chimp Empire.
that's
with
right.
The pups.
That's right. I watched the first episode.
Yeah?
Amazing, and I cried at the end with
Yeah.
Pork
Pork
Pie.
Pie,
Oh,
yeah.
because he was alone.
He was. He fucked up.
Did he fuck up?
He wandered off from the group.
But wasn't he a loner to begin with?
Yeah, but I think he should have stayed with the group.
I know, but he didn't have a grooming partner.
That's true.
You need a grooming partner.
So if anyone's wondering, Chimp Empire, I recommended it because it's like humans, we're kind of pack animals, dogs, wolves, chimpanzees. I watched Chimp Empire on Netflix, and I swear I learned more about humans watching that than anything because it's like this very simplified version of how we operate.
Yeah.
Like our whole pecking order and cooperation and all this kind of stuff. It's
And-
fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and even when they're grooming, like they're sizing up that person. And then
Yeah.
I thought it was fascinating that the alphas groom each other.
Yes.
Or like the second in command.
Right.
And they're kind
A
of like,
tight little circle.
yeah, they're kind of
They're in
sizing,
charge.
looking like they're opportunists.
Right. And then some, like a lower chimp may come up and groom the alpha, and he's waiting for it to reciprocate.
And
But
then-
if the alpha doesn't think he's worthy, the alpha will just turn and walk away.
Yeah.
So it's like, you groom me, but no. It's like mob mentality, or it's
Right?
like watching The Godfather or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's so cool.
It's very cool. It's
I
all
mean-
about respect
Yeah.
and what you can contribute to the troop.
Yeah.
You know, and this group relies on having a strong leader. And
Mm-hmm.
and like say, if this leader isn't appearing strong, everyone feels a little insecure, and they're testing him once in a while. Like the lower chimps will test his ability to
Yeah.
protect them once in a
Yeah,
while.
like, do you-
And if he shows any weakness, then that's my opportunity. And that is kind of like dog eat dog or chimp fight chimp or whatever, but that does overall help the longevity and the strength of the whole group.
Because you need the strongest leader you can have.
You
right?
need the strongest leader you can
Yeah.
have. It's fascinating.
And it's kind of interesting when they were doing that boundary control just to make sure that no one was in their territory.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was like the fight or flight thing. Like,
Right.
do you like gun up and go after, or do you retreat back? And that's kind of how it is with like reactive dogs, which is reactive dogs keep me in business, right? Like,
Yeah.
and people don't realize when they're on a walk with their dog, like we're thinking about, getting outside, fresh air, a little bonding time, but in their eyes, they're thinking about migration.
Okay.
And there's only one leader in a migration, and it best be you, not your dog.
Right.
So when a dog simply starts to pass your leg, their state of mind completely changes. Their ears become alert. They're hyper focused on everything because they're like, oh, I'm going to start pulling negatives out of the environment because it's my job. I'm the leader. And that's what makes a dog reactive.
Right.
So if you have and teach a dog to loose leash walk, behind you or beside you, you're going through this migration together, and they're curving to you to be like, okay, is this okay? Like, or should we
Yeah.
proceed? Or so it's kind of the same thing, like with the chimps, like they.
Yeah, it's fascinating because they're hanging out in the fruit trees, chilling, grooming, eating mangoes or whatever those were, and then they decide. Jackson, I think the leader, the alpha, decides we need to go to the perimeter and just protect our area and our fruit trees from the possible enemies over on the border. And as they get closer to the border, their behavior changes, right? Their posture changes.
Yeah,
They're
they get puffy.
They get puffy. They're looking at each other. As these males approach the border, they're looking at each other, making eye contact, patting each other on the back.
Did you see that
creeping
when
slow. I know, so human.
And when they were going to
Yeah.
advance,
Yeah.
did you? I can't remember the alpha. Jackson.
Jackson.
Jackson, and what was the other?
I forget. It's been a while.
Okay, sorry.
It was a COVID watch way back. I binge watched that.
But he was like patting his
Yeah.
like egging him on.
Yeah,
Like that's
and they're
we
creeping
got this.
together and they're moving together
Oh.
and there's the eye contact and the physical contact and their posture and
Yeah.
they're highly alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when dogs, like when they are insecure, their hackles will go up, and that's kind of the same thing. I
Right,
got to
up
make
here
myself
bigger,
look
intimidating.
bigger.
Right.
Yeah. And most of the time when hackles go up, it is a sign of, you know what I mean? Like the fur on the,
Yeah.
it's mostly a sign of insecurity, but it can be a sign of like making myself look bigger, right? To,
Intimidate
Yeah.
the opponent. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, another thing that I thought was fascinating was when, I didn't know this at first, but chimpanzees eat monkeys. Usually they eat fruit, but they take down a monkey. And then, so it's rare, right? So they're grabbing a monkey. It's a little bit graphic, folks. They're ripping it apart. But then the whole ceremony of
know.
how they share it.
I know.
Yeah.
They share it to like the stronger of the crew, and then
And
they
their alliances.
purposely leave others out.
Right. The ones that may not be as trustworthy or the ones that don't have their back or I guess with their mating pairs,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll share some meat with them. And like that whole, like you mentioned earlier, the sharing of food.
Yes.
The sharing of food is so huge. Like I was hanging out at Ben's the other night and he has cats. Forgive him. He's a cat guy.
Oh,
okay.
you don't have any dogs in your house?
No, he's British and he has cats.
I find dogs intimidating. I don't want to have one of those dogs that's out of control.
Are you
But-
intimidated by Ralphie, Ben?
No, but by owning a dog.
I know,
right?
and I-
ownership,
Yeah.
'cause it's
I
so much
totally
responsibility.
respect that too.
Okay.
I love dogs. We had
Okay.
a dog when I was a kid, but like, it's intimidating. I don't want to not do right by the animal. I don't think that's a fair thing.
And
to
cats
start
are more
off.
independent.
Cats. Yeah, you don't care.
So one thing
But-
he said that I found fascinating is, and I didn't know this because I'd never had cats, but you can't train a cat with food
Yeah, that's true.
because they're not really like,
They're not food motivated.
they're not food motivated.
I
like-
wonder if you
us.
like suppress their food.
You can't. They
They would just be like, I'm just gonna go find a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they hunt way more. My cats are terrible at this anyway, but they hunt way more than they eat anyway. So they're not.
They're never hungry.
No,
They're not dependent on you.
no, not really.
And that's hard because then that's the reason why we can't have cats that are the size of dogs.
Oh, because they take us down. Yeah,
Oh, they would eat this even at heart.
Oh, they would be plotting your death for a while.
they would.
They're plotting. The ones I've got are plotting my death all the time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't like the way they look at me when I'm visiting. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh.
But like this, the sharing of food is a fascinating thing. I mean, in human culture, we don't eat with our enemies.
No.
You know, you invite people over that you're close to.
Yeah.
You invite people that you're trying to make an alliance with, whether it's a business deal or a romantic deal, romantic relationship. You eat with your friends. You buy a beer as a gesture for a friend.
Yep.
You know, you split a sandwich.
Yep.
It's a loving, very intimate kind of thing. And then you see these chimps.
I know. It's
And then you think of the dog relationship, and it is kind of
it's a
pretty
lot of
cool.
I just want to point this out too. Like, free feeding is a new thing. Like being able to to put the food down, and the dog just eats what it wants and then leaves it. So the dogs that do that 9 times out of 10 have behavior issues.
Really?
Well, because like we're taking away that reason, that one reason why they need to curve to us for needs of life. So if the food's always there, they don't need you. And those are the dogs that tend to run away. Yeah.
Wow.
So it goes back to
Because you don't have that clear, like,
yeah.
pecking order,
Like,
for lack of a better word.
You want the dog to wake up and be like, okay, I'm hungry. Who supplies the food? It's you. I'm going to curve to you.
Yeah, well, that's not how Ralph and I operate.
no,
His bowl
Ralph.
is full all the time.
Oh, Ralph.
But he comes to me for bacon.
Yeah.
That's what he comes.
But there's
And
also a social component to sharing the food, right?
Yeah.
The social, like, it's not just like, oh, here's your food, you're done now. You don't just feed them and walk off, because there's an interaction there usually,
Yeah.
right? It's like a little bit of a, like, they've asked you for it and you give them a little scratch on the head or something.
Yeah.
It's not like just like, here's your food, you little shit, fuck off. That's not the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those
He's really
dogs probably have
patient.
different problems too, right?
He's really patient. Like, I can leave my steak on the coffee table, go to the washroom, and he's not going to touch it.
That's amazing.
And he will sit there and patiently wait, and I'll give him a little scrap here and there.
Yeah.
But he knows his place. He knows that I eat first. He gets a little piece after. It's kind of a beautiful thing, I think.
Yeah, no, that's great. And
Yeah.
sometimes, like, I'll back up. Sometimes it does work, having the food in the dish. But if you're trying to, establish a relationship
Right.
and to get a dog to, change their state of mind, I try to steer people away from free feeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't know what I'm doing training a dog. I think I just got lucky.
Yeah.
That's why I'm afraid to get another dog.
It's like whatever works, to keep on
Yeah.
doing it,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, don't do that with your next dog.
No, I won't. And I don't think we did that with him at first. I don't think we did that
And
when he was young. I don't think we did.
most dogs only need to eat once a day. Like we're like, they need 4 square meals a day, or we don't eat that much, but 3 square meals a day, and because we do that. But
I eat 6 meals a day.
that's good though. Snacks or meals?
Meals.
Second breakfast.
I eat a lot.
No, that's good. You're a tall
I'm a
dude.
big guy, yeah. I can eat a
Yeah.
lot.
So
Lots of
I'll
meat.
start eating that too,
There you go.
because
Yeah.
I'm tall.
Still growing.
Yes, in other ways, not upright.
So I heard you're a famous basketball player.
Oh,
Is that
you
right?
heard that? Oh
I
my
heard
god.
that.
Oh my god. No.
Isn't that what people just ask that, right? If you're tall, you
Oh,
must play
terrible.
basketball.
Terrible. Yeah, no, so like I said earlier on, I confided into animals. So when I was this tall, when I was 11 years old, they're like, that's get you for basketball and volleyball.
Same
Like
thing
you're
happened
gonna
to me.
you're gonna be a superstar. I'm like, okay. Little did they know, as soon as I started dribbling, I would kick the ball across the court.
Can relate.
I had all these. I just had these newfound limbs that I didn't know how to orchestrate.
I think everyone who's quite tall has like had problems with knowing where their feet and their hands are. At some
I know, it's
and
like-
I have such big feet. Like I have a size 12. Like
It's like learning to drive a car, and every day you go to the driveway, your car is larger.
Yeah.
Like you just learned to drive yesterday's car, and today's car is like way bigger.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
So eventually they're like, okay, I just want you to stand still under the net.
We have the same coach.
Don't dribble. Just grab it
Yeah.
and throw it up. And that was my job. And I
Yeah.
did that well.
You
I
did
just
that
couldn't
well?
I just couldn't dribble.
Stay right here.
Don't move. Don't even dribble.
I was that same kid, didn't have the coordination for that. And then I tried out for the under 16 Nova Scotia basketball team.
Oh, yes?
Because I'm from little town of Weymouth. I was the biggest guy. I go
Oh.
to like all the 16-year-olds in the province, and I am no longer the big guy.
Ah,
There was
how'd you
two
feel about
guys,
that?
Like, I hated it.
It's like, I thought I
there's-
was it.
I know. There's these 2 guys that are like 6'9", they can dunk anytime they want. And the coach is like, well, we still want you, but we want you to be like a power forward. I'm like, what? Like, you want me to dribble the ball? Like, they don't let me to do that even on like that level. And you want me to ball handle at the highest level of Nova Scotia basketball?
Oh, that's so cool though. Were you able to dunk?
Oh, yeah. I could dunk in grade 9.
Oh yeah, no problem.
I could dunk. I just couldn't dribble.
Like the height, like
Yeah,
the height that
10
you would.
foot. Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
but
In
you're
grade 9. I was dunking in junior high.
Can you still dunk?
Well, I think I could. I haven't done it in some time.
Oh, you
We
gotta-
might need to find a Canadian Tire basketball and a basketball hoop after this.
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
Find out.
absolutely.
'Cause
Couple
I've
of
been doing
these,
some
we'll be
squats
sailing.
and stuff. I've been doing some squats, so I think I might
All
have the
right.
jump still.
All right, all
Yeah,
right.
I got a little, like in my 30s, I tore up my ankle too many times, and I just kind of had to.
excuses. Like, yeah.
Hey,
Oh, here we go, because we're like, it might
All right.
happen. So
I'll see you on
the excuses need to happen now.
Yeah.
I have-
No,
I have
I
none.
think I could
I didn't
now.
tell anyone that I could play basketball.
Oh, can you play?
No, he's British.
You don't play basketball?
They don't allow them to.
It's all
It's
about the
cricket.
ground stuff.
It's too American to play.
Polo.
We
Polo's
played
pretty cool.
We played what you guys called soccer.
Football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I was the goalie in soccer because I was big. They're like, you can just
Stand here and do
just
this.
starfish.
Just do
Yeah. Hope for the best. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't kick the ball. Just throw it.
Yeah.
So you were working with horses, but you weren't a jockey.
No, do you
No.
know that you have to be, I don't even know how people can do this. You have to be 125 pounds with the saddle.
Wow. Yeah.
My
Because
leg weighs more than 125
you know,
pounds.
being tall, people come up to us and say, "Oh, you're tall. You play basketball?" And I want to say, "You're little. Are you a jockey?"
Yeah, you should.
Should. Yeah.
But if they're on the small side, like if they're 150, no,
No.
they wouldn't be able to be a jockey.
No.
You'd
They're
have
little
to-
people, aren't they?
Yeah, they're little people, and then like just being in that atmosphere. It's just like there's like saunas. They're trying to like get down and wait before the
The riders?
yeah. So because
Jeepers.
it's kind of like a weigh-in, like with boxing or
Well, it affects
Wow.
the time, right? The racing. If you weigh like more, you're gonna be slower, right?
right. Yeah, ultimately, yeah. So like it's like a weigh-in. It's
Yeah.
just like
Rich people shit.
rich people shit.
Rich people shit.
Oh my god! But it was a glamorous. I mean, I've come from Lawrencetown, this like hillbilly town in the valley, and I'm just like, hey, I'm just like, okay, all right, I'm posh.
Well, you pulled it off.
Yeah, I did. I
That's
did.
good. Yeah.
I did. I
Or
did.
it just wasn't the world for you.
Oh my gosh, it was yeah, it was busy, it was fast, and like where I worked, like people would the boarding fee was $100 a day for their horse, and the horse stayed there all year,
That's like Airbnb fees.
right?
Yeah. I'm in the wrong business.
Like it was just crazy, and they would come visit their horse maybe multiple times a year, but they were pumping out this money.
Wow.
It was insane.
And some of these horses are costing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh my gosh, I gotta tell you this one story. so I didn't know this. I didn't know this about thoroughbreds. So the thoroughbreds are those hot racing horses. So they're really sensitive. And I didn't know that when a woman is going through that time of the month,
Okay.
that I needed to put a metal pole in the long lead or in the lead.
Okay.
So do you know, like you walk a horse with a rope of some.
Oh yeah.
And so at that time of a woman's cycle, like when they're menstruating, a horse can sense that.
Wow.
So I didn't know that there was this collection of metal poles that I needed to put on when I'm going through that time of the month with
Okay.
when I'm dealing with like crazy race horses, right? So I actually had this giant thoroughbred try to mount me.
Oh,
Didn't have the metal pole to
that's a
for
mistake
leverage.
you don't make again.
So this horse was worth almost $1 million. So it came and tried to, it kind of reared up and clobbered me. It hit me in the head. And then I managed to spin around, and I was trying to get underneath a fence because it was coming at me.
Wow.
And
I didn't expect this to be on the podcast.
and then it hit me in the head with its hoof. And I didn't know, I was passed out for a few minutes, but no one came and got me. They're after that $1 million horse that was now loose.
Jerks.
Right? They're
Wow.
like, the road's right there. Like we need to get this horse, and I was just there, like unconscious, like half dead.
Yeah.
People.
Concussion, no big deal. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll get you later. It was so crazy. So that's the
Wow.
mentality. Like, they're like, that horse is like,
Alright,
we
so-
cannot lose that horse.
I was already afraid of horses. Like now I'm a little
Well,
bit.
just watch when you're menstruating, Ben.
Look for the metal poles in the corner of the stable and slide that in there.
At least
Well,
now
I
I know
guess-
what they're for.
Animals know things that we don't know,
I know.
right? Like, it's very, very sad. There was a young folk singer that got killed by coyotes in Cape Breton on
Yes.
a walking trail. I think she was
Menstruating.
as
And
well.
running. Just,
Yeah.
that's the ultimate prey, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, let's take this down.
Wow.
It was funny because Northern Dancer, who, like I said, was at that establishment way back. It was passed away. He was just terrible, like just super mean horse. But if someone came in there with like Down syndrome or some kind of disabled, he was beautiful.
So they know.
They know.
They're smarter than we think.
Oh, absolutely.
And I suppose they can be assholes if they want to, because nobody, as long as they're running fast enough, they can almost do whatever they want. They're like rock stars, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awful.
So yeah, no, it's it was interesting. So I learned a lot.
I bet. That'd be an education right there.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to live and learn in life, eh? And
That's not a lesson I want to learn.
you don't have to worry about that.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
No. A Shih Tzu humping my leg is about as bad as it gets.
Yeah,
Although
right?
he doesn't do that to me. He seems to do that to visitors. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A little bit awkward.
A little bit awkward. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an apology. You
Isn't
don't
that
really
so
wanna have
funny
to-
when you're awkward? It always leads to sexualness.
I guess so.
Just kidding. But just with animals. Just with animals.
just with animals, yeah.
They're like, I don't know how to
Stop
play. I'm just gonna hump
embarrassing
you.
It's a very natural thing to do, I guess.
Yeah, like it's really true. Like when dogs are awkward, it becomes sexual. Like everything, like play becomes sexual.
Really?
They're like, okay, this seems natural,
I guess that's why when men are acting up, they call them dogs.
right?
Yeah.
They're like, I think this is what I'm supposed to do.
The date gets a bit awkward.
I guess
It's like
so.
I think it's yeah.
So your animal psychologies probably come in handy in general life.
Not really.
No?
I don't think so.
No?
I've never been able to train a man yet.
Well, hang in there.
To get more control over its food.
You just need better treats.
Right? Suppress the food.
Suppress the
I'm just
food.
kidding.
Better treats.
No, I think that might work.
Yeah? Yeah? It's like,
think
if you
so.
do this, I'll make this. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that could work.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Oh.
Drink break.
So there was many reviews
Oh
that,
my
that I
gosh.
found, but I can't read them all. But I found one that I think kind of stood out. I'm not going to read the person's name, but this
Okay.
is a review of one of your what do you call them, clients?
Yeah, I call them
Clients.
clients.
Clients, yeah.
They always become friends. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
This wasn't written by the dog. This was written
Oh.
by the dog owner.
Oh,
Yeah, I can't
okay.
speak.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's impossible to put into words how amazing Lindsay has been for us. She is the third trainer we've had been to, and definitely the first one that you should see. She never gave up, no matter how stubborn our dog was, how difficult the circumstances. She treats dogs as humans with amazing respect and understanding. When other trainers said our dog was hopeless, Lindsay said, we just haven't figured him out yet. If there isn't a person out there that gets this, let's start again. There isn't a person who gets a dog that I don't recommend her to.
That's
I
beautiful.
thought that was a pretty good review.
Yeah.
Pretty good review.
Yeah. Like, I hate to say this, and I'll probably get lambasted after this, but I feel like
We're not reading the comments.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I won't either.
No.
I just feel like people stick to one side of training. Like, I feel like dogs are like recipes that we need to figure out the ingredients for,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, we need to figure out the special recipe for this dog to like so that's I view every dog that comes to me as an individual. It's not like, okay, this is what's going to work for this dog.
It's not like a format.
No.
kind of thing, yeah.
No.
Interesting.
So I spend a few days with these dogs and try to figure out, okay, are you like, is everything fear based? Are you insecure? Like, do you need more leadership in your life? Like, every dog's needs are the same, but there's different. Just like you and I are individual, and maybe our needs would be a little bit different. So I go at it like an open mind approach with every dog I work with. So sometimes just positive reinforcement works for this dog, and that's great. It doesn't need to be reprimanded. Sometimes it needs dual, like to be held accountable in both aspects. So when they say that they've been to a couple trainers, I'm thinking that they just have one method,
Right.
and they're not open-minded to being like, okay, what does this dog really need in its life, right? Like, yeah. So that's where I think I differ from other dog trainers. Like, I'm trying to find the special recipe to make it do
Like
well.
you put a lot of work into that. You take that personal, don't you?
Absolutely. It's definitely been a labor of love. Like, I mean, when dogs come to me for the 21 days, like, that's my objective. That's my life. I don't do anything else but those dogs.
And what is the goal? The goal is to have peace and security for this
Yeah,
dog.
like, I'm not-
and for the owners.
I'm not an obedience. Like, I'm not an obedience star. I don't want my dog to like jump through my arms and go into my legs, do a whole bunch of circles. I want them to be neutral. I want them to be cool, calm, and collected in every situation. Basically, I try to get them. every dog I work with to a service level. Like they can be a service dog potentially.
And so that's like for peace of the household, the family,
Yeah.
but it's also for the peace and security of the dog.
Absolutely.
So
The
the
dog will
dog-
live longer. You mean,
Yeah.
you know what stress does to you and I.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine what it does to a dog that's heightened all day waiting.
I was going to have a heart attack, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Could you imagine being that heightened all day? To like, and trying to take everything in. It's like, is that sound? Is that sound? Like, could you imagine? Like, it would, like, yeah, it would be, your anxiety levels would be through the
Yeah.
roof.
Well, and we struggle with the same stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
fear and anxiety, insecurities, all these things, our nervous systems get on edge and,
Yeah.
And we get a lot of comfort from the fact that we know what's going on. Right?
Exactly.
The dog doesn't really understand that.
And that's like, a lot of people are like, well, my dog's really anxious in the vehicle. I'm like, you're driving it to the unknown. Like, they have no control over this, and you're driving it out of its comforts.
yeah.
Like,
Right. So like Ralphie, like my wife and I, we split up like 9 years ago or so. We have joint custody of the kids and the dog.
I love that. I love when you
And,
told me that.
The kids are all grown up now, so they don't go back and forth, but Ralphie still goes back and forth.
I
And
love
it's a
that.
great relationship. Everyone gets along. My ex-wife is a school teacher, so she's home on the weekends. I in the bar business, so I'm busy on the weekends. So
Yep.
Ralphie gets 100% attention all the time. And normally Ralphie would be going back to their other house today. So he jumps in the truck as normal. He seems to know when it's time. But we had to go get his collar. Didn't want to bring him up with his collar. We pull in the driveway. His stepdad comes out with the collar. And Ralph doesn't get out of the truck. And we pull out. And he's like, what the hell's going on? Like, where are we going? Like, looking at me.
Yeah.
We get on the highway, and I can see him say, oh, shit. Where are you taking me today?
Oh, no.
Yeah, but it was like just out of his routine,
Yep.
and he knew, and he was.
They're
was
such
a little
routine
bit shaky.
animals,
I had
aren't
my
they?
son drive the truck this morning, and Ralph sat on my lap, and I held him, and he was great. But yeah, very much he
Yeah.
likes his routine. He
Yeah, they
likes his
do.
routine.
Anything out of
Yeah.
the norm, they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, full alert. They're like, okay, what's going on?
On edge, and that relationship has worked out great for him. I mean, he's a happy dog. He gets full attention, and
Oh, yeah, no, that's an awesome routine.
whenever someone's on vacation, there's always someone else to watch
Oh.
him. We split the vet bills, the grooming bills.
That's amazing.
It's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, works out.
Yeah, he didn't seem upset about it.
No,
No.
he's like, yeah.
He's super chill. He
Oh,
has
he's so
just so
chill.
many people that love him. He's great.
Yeah, no. Love,
Yeah.
but also authority, too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, he knows who's in charge.
Yeah,
He'll
that's
listen.
That's important. That's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder if so like natural like the training is a big part, but natural temperament must be a big part of it too.
like good breeding.
Well, I guess good breeding, but like
We don't do that well in Nova Scotia.
I bet not. That's a whole other topic we can get into. But
Okay.
I have a theory with Ralph, like he was the last of the litter to be picked. And I think a lot of people may go to a litter and they're going to get the first one that's like most energetic or whatever, right? They'll take the most energetic ones, they'll pick those, but he was the last one. So he's probably a little more timid, a little more reserved,
Yep.
probably a little more of a beta type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
We just
interesting.
got lucky that way, I guess.
It's interesting that you said that. So lots of times when we go and we pick a dog, where it's like it's the one that came to me right away, and
Yeah.
or it's the one that was like sleeping in the corner. I try to promote every dog owner to do the aptitude test on, because we're in this society of for looks, right? Like, oh, like the coloring's on that one, I'm going to go for that one. I'm like, but what about the personality I have to deal with for 15 years,
Sounds like dating.
right?
Get yourself into trouble.
Oh my God, we should do an aptitude test for dating. You're like, okay, you need to. So there, it's what service dogs like. This is what they do for service dogs. Any good breeder will do this too. It's scored between 1 and 6. So 1 is like the alpha, won't be
Right.
controlled by you. You're gonna be in for it your whole life. And
The
then
bad boys.
6 is a very like dismissive, like very 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 timid dog. So you always want to your dog to score between in the middle between 3 and 4. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's like
And that is to optimize, not trying to take control. But
yeah, you just want
why would you not want it to be a 6?
a 6, a submissive dog that's like held back. Like if like let's say if you went to approach someone, he would be trying to get away from that situation.
Okay.
And then the 1 would be trying to attack you.
Okay. So you want the one in the middle?
You want the 1, you always want the neutral middle one.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And people don't think about that.
No.
So I've always had rescue dogs. So my dog that I have now, Onyx, I did that with him. I tested out 3 of the litter mates, and they're a pretty well-rounded crew. They're all scoring like 3 and 4, which was perfect. I didn't want any dog that I had to, he kind of needed to be on the back burner a little bit too, as I did my other job. So I didn't want him causing issues. I just wanted him to be neutral, settle into every situation that arose. So I'm glad I did that. But when I went to go pick him up at the end, so this is done at 6 weeks, and you go and pick your dog up at 8 weeks usually, right? So this is done at 6 weeks with someone that they don't know. It's like the umbrella test, the approach test. Does it follow a string? Does it retreat back from the string? Like all these little tiny tasks, and they get rated on it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it should be promoted more. And I feel breeders should do this too, so they know what they're getting. But so when I went to pick up Onyx, it wasn't the dog that I had chosen.
Uh-oh. They switched your dog?
Yeah, my original Onyx went to Halifax. Oh. So it was the last one to be picked up, and I was like, that's not the one I picked. And so I have no idea his aptitude test.
Oh.
The dog that I have, because they messed up. But it worked out.
He's cool.
He's cool. He's so cool. Like, I'm so grateful for him. Like,
he would have to be.
Oh,
to live in that environment, like, with dogs coming in and out all the time.
Yeah.
Would have to be. Yeah.
He's a little bit crazy around women, though.
Yeah.
I think I made him into like a playa.
Really?
He
well, with a name like that, that sounds like a playa kind of name.
Does it?
It does.
I didn't mean it to be a strong name. I just meant it to be from the stone. But then you told me about the
the
rap group, and I was like,
group
that
from
is...
Onyx from the 90s. Yeah, they were a very angry rap group.
I'm like, that's not him.
No.
It definitely didn't name him after
It is
that.
Now. Gotta go home. He's gonna be smoking a blunt, talking shit.
No, I couldn't picture him, dude. He's definitely a medium boy. Like I've never even really heard him growl.
Really?
He just retreats back if something's uncomfortable, right? He doesn't like stand there and.
So he's probably like a 5 or 6.
No, he would be a 4.
A 4. Okay.
Yeah, he would be a 4. If he was a 6, he would be hiding in the corner,
Okay.
not wanting to deal with anything. Yeah. So there's some things that, like, as a dog trainer, I can't really untrain, right? Mm-hmm. That's their chemical makeup.
Right.
And
They
Brett.
just come out of the box like that.
Yeah, it's just like I said, all dogs are individual. Mm-hmm. So bad breeding is a big thing here, especially with German Shepherds.
So in bad breeding, you mean they would take dogs that maybe look great but don't pass that aptitude test?
Yeah, like they're
breed them, and then you're going to get more misbehaving dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you breed a 6 and a 6, and you're gonna have a whole litter of 6s.
And a lot of times it's probably for profit.
Absolutely. We're really bad with that in Nova Scotia. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Nova Scotia, but we are.
Do better, Nova Scotia.
With breeding.
Yeah.
With humans, too. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, some of that's training. Some of that we have to train. We just need better snacks.
We just need,
better snacks.
Food. It all comes back to food.
Yeah, it all comes back to the food.
Yeah, so bad breeding is something that it's hard. And then like, when you get a dog, like especially like a working dog, like a healer, and you want it to be a house dog.
What's a healer?
So a healer is an Australian dog, and they're meant to herd cows. So they don't take any shit.
I bet not. They're used to corralling
so
much larger animals.
they're meant to being kicked in the head and come back for more.
Wow.
Right? They're like, kick me in the head. I'm gonna, team you around a little bit. Okay. So, and then we're trying to make these guys house dogs.
Yeah, because they look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those type of breeds are like keep me in business, but then I'm like, to some level, you do have to suppress their tendencies. If you want them, like if you want them as a working dog, oh yeah, don't suppress it.
Right.
But if you want them to be around children and be civil, you have to tell them that biting ankles it's going to be uncomfortable when you do that.
So that's a behavior from chasing cattle.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they're like, oh, I can't. I get this all the time. Like the herders, like they're herding the kids. Herding, not hurt. Well, yeah. Potentially herding.
Potentially herding, yeah.
But yeah, all these things you have to, like, if we want a working dog, we have to suppress some of their tendencies.
Right.
For them to be civil
I bet.
in this society, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad that we do that. I think it's sad. I think it's sad. Like I would never get a dog that. I don't think I would ever get a working dog.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
If I had cows and sheep.
right for the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of a dogs, maybe people are listening to this or thinking about getting a dog for their family or whatever. Do you have any recommendations for what people should get for
A greyhound.
like a family? Really?
They only need 15 minutes of exercise a day, and then they'll stay in your couch all day. Any kind of sight hound. They're so lazy.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
They
Okay.
look cool as well.
Good with kids?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I always tell people like they're not the most beautiful dog, like the greyhounds, but like the wolfhound, they're kind of cool. Like any sight hound, it's kind of low maintenance. They are just burst of 15 minutes, and they're like, okay, I think I need to sleep all day now. Yeah, I think every dog's a big undertaking, but
Yeah.
I'll always recommend a sight hound over like a lab or
Okay.
yeah, they're easy if you want some low maintenance.
Well, and a
maintenance
lot
dog.
of people don't have time. People are busy.
Then don't get a
And I
dog.
think-
Get
right.
a cat.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just like I'm preaching cats so much. Do you want to be a cat breeder? I'm like, this is
That sounds like a lot of work.
yeah. No,
Probably is because there's probably a large amount of people that get their dog, don't properly train it. The dog becomes a pain in the ass. They're frustrated and they give their dog away.
oh my gosh, every rescue's full right now, and I get it all the time. Like I'm like people message me. I don't want this dog anymore, and people think I'm a rescue. I'm like I don't want a rescue. So yeah, it was COVID. Like I need something to use my human emotions for. Like like I'm alone. Like I need
Comfort
some
dog. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, maybe I'm back to work, and this dog's like ruining my house. So
Yeah.
I don't need this anymore.
Right.
Right? I've got my need out of this dog, and
And it's probably much easier to train the dog when it's young.
yes, it's more. So when dogs come to me for board and trains, I don't take a dog after the age of 5 years.
Okay.
You try training a 50-year-old
Man?
man.
Old dog, new tricks, they say.
I
Right?
mean, you can. Like, I mean, if time is on your side, absolutely. But I mean, pathways have
Right.
opened up in its brain to think a certain way.
Right.
So then you're trying to change that, and it's hard. If you can train an old dog, new tricks. But I like them when they're moldable. Like when
Yeah.
they're
Well, that makes sense. And I guess a lot of people don't put the work in or don't understand what they're getting into, and they get frustrated and give the dog away. And then someone has a much harder job because now they have to teach this dog to unlearn all this bad behavior.
Yeah, but dogs are easy, so they learn through the law of effect. So they'll repeat a behavior based on the repercussions when they last acted it out. So if you make it undesirable, like if you give them a pop of the lead or spatial pressure where you walk into them, or a sound, and they're like, oh, last time I did this behavior, this sucks, so I'm not going to do that again. They can totally learn that way.
Learn better than us sometimes, maybe.
Yeah.
I
Well,
repeat the
people
same
can be
mistake.
really stubborn.
I can learn. I can.
It
Yeah.
usually takes 3 weeks to rehabilitate a dog that is under the age of 4.
That's why you take them for 21 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a week of testing to be like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? Like, are you going, is this just a one-time thing, or is tomorrow is going to be the same thing? It's a week of testing.
Right.
And
then
then
they realize this lady is not quitting.
Yeah, she's grumpy.
She's stubborn.
She's really grumpy.
If I want my snacks, I better smarten the hell up.
No, I never suppress food. But I leave the food down for 20 minutes. And if it's not 8, then I pick it up until next meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you gotta work within the parameters.
Yeah, you're not like, we don't lollygag with our food. Well, sometimes we do, but yeah, like, and I always feed in a crate because lots of times like dogs don't eat in the morning. And it's because we're really busy. We're getting the kids out the door and we're running around, and they're like, well, I can't concentrate on eating. Like, I need to follow you around the house. So
So they're naturally very hyper aware of what's going on.
dogs want to be closer to sounds, closer to movement, and closer to smells. Always. But if they were with their mother, the mother would have suppressed that because it's ultimately dangerous.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true, because you don't want to. If you get close to every sound and every smell, eventually that's going to get you killed in the wild, right?
So like I said, we're taking these dogs away at 8 weeks, and we're not
Yeah.
teaching them to have holdups and to absorb things instead of react to things. So yeah, that's on us to teach dogs composure, to make them a safe creature. They won't learn it on their own unless they get, hit by a car. They're like, okay, I can't go around vehicles anymore. Like, Like, it's up to us to teach
And
them.
maybe that's why Ralphie's a great dog, because he was born in August. We picked him out, I think, in November, but he was going to be a Christmas puppy. So he stayed until Christmas. So he stayed with his mom from August 23rd when he was born until Christmas morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's exactly it.
Time, yeah.
You know what? That just gave me goosebumps. I don't know. I'm just so passionate about it. Like when dogs come up from Texas that are like, with their mom on the run, those dogs, and then let's say they come up when they're 6 months old and they've been taken away from the mom at that time. They are the best behaved dogs of life.
Huh. They just had more exposure to that.
And
nurture.
their mom controlled them.
Right.
So they don't jump.
Yeah.
They have impulse control and they absorb things before reacting.
And another thing that was unusual with Ralph, he came from a place, she was a dog breeder and a dog groomer. So she said she never had a puppy so long, and she got connected with him. So she's like, bring him back every month and I'll groom him for like free or cheap. She said free, but we paid her anyway.
That's nice, yeah.
So Ralphie got to go back every month to the home where he was born, interact with his mom and his sister, I believe. And it went on for years until one time Ralphie went there for his grooming and his mom was gone.
Oh,
She had passed away.
Oh.
And Ralphie came home so sad.
So he would spend time with his mom when
Every
he
month.
went to get groomed?
Yeah.
Oh,
He'd be there for the afternoon.
have you ever
visiting time.
seen the connection? Like, have you ever seen them interact when you were there?
I never got to see that, no.
Shoot,
I
because
know.
I wonder if it was like an embrace. Like, I think I know, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if they would know that they were.
Oh, he definitely was in a funk and sad when he came home and she wasn't there.
Oh.
The one time he went for a grooming appointment and the mama wasn't there, he was definitely, he was visibly different.
Yep.
He just laid around.
I really stress to people. I'm like, please, like, if you have any time, go on YouTube and look at a mother and how it interacts with her pups. I want you to be that, but in a humanized form.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She loved, but she didn't take no shit.
Yeah.
If the pups were coming at her too hot for milk, she would growl and snap at them. Like, you need to come slow.
Huh.
And that was where composure started.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got to slow your roll.
Yeah.
Because
That makes sense that they would all have evolved that way to sort of, yeah.
And a lot of other mammals have, like whales will have their babies for a long time.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of animals.
Humans, yeah.
Yeah,
A lot
no.
of intelligent animals keep their pups or their young ones
Yeah.
for a long, long time.
Did you get with the chimp empire? Did they kind of hang out with their mother until they're about 6? Would
Well,
you
they'll
say?
they'll be in a
I
troop
guess,
for life.
yes.
But for genetic diversity, this weird thing happens. The adolescent females will wander off and join the other troop. They'll just wander across the line one day and join the other group, and then they take a very submissive role there. And the same adolescent females from that troop will wander over and
But
join
it's just the
these guys.
females, eh?
Just the
I'm
adolescent
tired
females.
of listening to these males. I'm gonna go find some new
Well,
males.
that's how nature's figured it out, because you just can't have the inbreeding in the group.
Yeah. So you just have
So
to pick one.
they'll trade adolescent females to keep the diversity. But what a vulnerable thing for an adolescent female to just wander into the neighboring village.
And I didn't get to this point. Like,
Yeah.
are they accepted?
Yes, but they start at the bottom of the pecking order and they have to earn their way up. So that's a very vulnerable,
Interesting.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
so
really
even
cool.
female chimps don't get very
Yeah.
great position in culture.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Take all the
wow.
sacrifice. Yeah.
That's
but that's
so
what
cool.
nature's had to do
But
to.
it's saying like, oh no, I shouldn't be too close to if I'm going to reproduce.
right.
So do you think when it's killing, this is a side topic, when those chimps were killing the monkeys, do you think that's cannibalism?
Well, they're a different breed. They're different species.
So you think
Where
that's
chimps-
okay?
Well,
Hey, I'm not judging Mother Nature.
I guess.
would you eat monkeys?
Well, we eat all kinds of animals.
Well, I don't.
It's frowned upon for us to eat humans, but we eat.
Yeah. I'm so
all kinds of
game
other
to
things.
start eating insects because I think that's going to happen here soon,
Oh,
right?
it's going to have to happen, probably. And I don't want it to happen. But
You don't want some deep fried
I'm allergic.
grasshoppers?
I'm allergic to shellfish and also insects.
How did you discover insects that you were?
It's just a thing, you know. It's like they're.
When
Well,
you-
a
when you're
lobster's a crustacean, and so is a cockroach. You can't. You
Oh.
can't have grasshoppers.
I thought like maybe you're a kid and you start like chowing down on some.
No, it's like a thing. Like if you can't have shellfish, you cannot eat bugs, shelled bugs. Yeah, you can't.
So
maybe-
it's spiders for you.
Maybe.
I don't know about spiders. But yeah, I'm
lot of
glad
places-
that's a thing. I do not want to be a bug
There's a lot
eater.
of places where people do eat
Oh.
insects of various things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great protein.
It's
very
and it's
lean.
gonna like probably take the place of like pigs and
Are you Klaus Schwab here? Are you
But
the
it's
World
not-
Economic Forum trying to get us eat bugs?
It's a lot more efficient in terms of like natural resources as well. I mean,
Absolutely. You don't raising a cow takes 2 years.
Yeah.
Lots of grass,
Yeah.
lots of water.
lots of water.
Yeah, well, you guys
Raising
can
a
have your
bug.
bugs. I can't. I'm allergic. I'll stick with my steak. You enjoy your bugs.
You could have tofu.
You can have tofu.
Oh,
Yeah.
the chimp empire is amazing. Like it just
Yeah.
takes our human customs and our everything about us, and it just kind of boils it down to this simple form.
I
And
know.
it's very
We started from that,
interesting.
eh?
Yeah.
We started from that.
Yeah.
So cool.
And we're not that different.
And one of
We're
the
never
most
really not.
coolest things about that whole documentary is those scientists that are right there in the middle of
Yeah.
it.
Well, these chimps had been around scientists for 40 years. So they were used to humans, but there's rules. You can't have food around them because they will go crazy. So the film crew was very accepted. These chimps have been around humans for 40 years, like generations.
This group in particular.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it was a part of their.
They
pretty
just,
much
they don't know anything other than that.
interesting.
Yeah.
40 years, eh?
40 years.
It was just amazing when you would watch the show and then the eyes would go on you.
I know.
Right?
And they probably couldn't have done this documentary 40 years ago because they wouldn't have high definition enough cameras. Like these 4K cameras, and they're getting right up in there, and you can see so much emotion in, in
right?
the eyes of the chimps and the
It
babies.
gave me that show gave me
chills.
goosebumps the whole
Yeah.
time.
Very, very
And how
powerful.
they look like us.
Very much. The hands, like when the babies holding it.
And when they have that light pigment when they first and
Yeah.
the ears.
Yeah.
It's kind of eerie, eh?
It is kind of eerie.
Yeah.
Nice pun there, eerie.
I didn't even realize
It's
that
a
was funny.
beautiful documentary. I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, no, I know. And I've only watched, I'm talking like I've seen the whole thing, but I've only watched the first one. And I
Yeah.
honestly thought it was just the one show.
I think it's a four-part
Yeah,
series. And
because-
they're going to go back to pick up where the story ends off. I think they're going to do another season of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be beautiful. Yeah.
They even have they've been taking DNA tests of these animals for 40 years too. So they know who's related to whom. And there's other troops like on the other side of the border that are also distant relatives because it was such a big initially it was such a one big troop
Yep.
that outgrew its territory that they had to split off. And now they're
Interesting.
like enemies. Very interesting. Yeah.
So with the DNA, everyone, there's no interbreeding.
No, well, the scientists know who's related to whom
Okay.
and all this kind of stuff. They've been
Okay.
documenting this stuff for 40
Because
years.
sometimes animals don't do well in that department. So it must be a smarter, because they're smart. It's more smart.
Well, I think they're smart, but maybe these are wild animals, so they have the freedom to decide. I guess animals in captivity would probably behave
There
differently.
are
Yeah.
also some animals that care less about that kind of thing than others.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a hole. I'll
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like rodents, for example, in general.
Oh, yeah, they don't care.
No.
No.
Rats.
And cats and dogs.
Really?
Oh, yeah, no. There's.
Cats not.
Well, I mean, every dog that is a purebred has some level of line breeding,
Right.
means inbreeding.
They're a little messed up.
Well, no, not necessarily. It's very on a small scale. Usually, if you get their breeding certificate, it says 7% line breeding. Way back. Just to it's just kind of like the royalty
document
thing.
stuff. Oh, the royalty thing. Yeah.
You know what I
how
mean?
that goes. That always works out.
That always works out.
Well, let's inbreed these people and put them in charge.
Right? Oh, what were we thinking? What were you
were
guys
thinking?
thinking? No, I'm just kidding.
The British, you have some explaining to do, Ben.
Hey, it wasn't as bad as the Spanish.
Were they worse?
Oh yeah. Well, there's a whole thing about that of I think I'm right in saying the whole reason that the Spanish speak the way that some of the accent that they have is from a speech impediment that dates back to inbreeding of the royal family.
Are you kidding?
No,
I've never heard that.
I'm not a historian. So
You're not going to start a war or something here, Ben, with your gossip.
We can edit that part out.
Yeah, just don't edit it
Your
out.
inbreeding
I
speech
need some.
impediments.
I need some excitement in my life.
No, there is there's pictures of this guy he doesn't look like a normal human. There's paintings of the guy, so they're just supposed to be flattering paintings, and they don't look good.
That was with a filter. Back then, the filter was, "I'll cut your head off if you don't do a good painting of me."
Oh my gosh, that is interesting. Interesting. That's so cool.
And that's what we do here: talk about interesting shit.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I know, but that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But why is the language like the love language? Such a beautiful language to listen to.
Because they were romancing their cousins.
That's it. They had lots of practice. You lived in my home.
I think culturally around the Mediterranean in general, people are just a little bit more romantic, and everything all around there is a lot more. But it's a big.
It's the fish.
It's the fish, but it's the atmosphere.
It's
as well.
the fish oil in
All
their
the
brains.
Yeah,
Well,
they're healthy, but everyone's quite healthy and everyone's quite relaxed.
But there's a thing
What
where
is with
if
that?
there's
Can
enough,
we adapt that here? Like, how can we do that here?
but when there's enough
Diets.
resources, people can,
Yeah,
they're
relax.
not scrounging and they can relax and they can write poetry and date and do these
But
kinds of
really,
things,
we
right?
don't like. I mean, totally different worlds. But really, we have tons of resources here that we can relax.
Yes, but you know why North Americans are a little more high strung? We are immigrant place. So the people that left the old world and came here are more dopaminergic. They're more bipolarism here. So think about it. Like back in Ireland during a potato famine, there's no potatoes. People are hungry. One brother says, I'm just going to wait for the potatoes to come back. And the other brother's the crazy one. He's like, I'm going to North America.
Yeah, yeah.
So all those
Screw this.
folks take a risk, jump on a boat, come here. They're entrepreneurs, they're risk takers. That's why America has big business, all these big risks, all these creative types.
Interesting.
Because we've cherry picked the most crazy people from all over the world.
Yeah.
Elon Musk from South Africa comes here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's to chase that opportunity, and it's just a culture. It becomes a thing. We do have more bipolarism because that is people who chase dopamine more.
Yeah.
Because the more
interesting.
chill people are like, I'm going to stay here in Italy.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
You
So
got to
we've
get that
kinda-
high from something, and
Right.
it staying put sometimes doesn't get.
That's
do
why
that.
we're a little nutty here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
then again, in North America, here's some history, guys.
I like it.
Just theories, but when the British Empire was here and the American Revolution happened, so you got these other wild Americans like, we're done paying taxes, we're going to have our own country.
Yeah.
And so you had some families down there. Some of the maybe a brother was a little more reserved, a little more loyal. He's like, I don't think I want to go on my own. I think I'm going to stay with the British. He more migrated toward Canada, which was loyalist to the British Empire, and then the more energetic, crazy, rebellious guys became Americans. So that's why you have a bit of a split between America and Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never knew that.
Yeah, well, it kind of divided toward
Yeah,
the
okay.
lines. Yeah,
Okay.
politics kind of drove people different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
So that's
crazy.
how you selected for America to be very ambitious, risk takers. Let's go get them.
Yeah, we're totally different, eh?
Totally different.
Totally different.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like a stepping stone, almost like from Europe to Canada to
Right.
like the States. It kind of seems like it's like almost a progression.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. It's like picking teams in sports or something. We've kind of gravitated a certain way. And still right now, like you have people, a really ambitious person here in Canada might move to America to go to Wall Street or Hollywood.
Yeah,
or
because
whatever.
that's just not the opportunity's not here or
Right.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally
Let's go
different
where
way.
the risk takers are.
Totally different way of thinking down there.
Is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful and ugly all at the same time.
Isn't it? Like
is.
I went with a bunch of girlfriends last fall to Utah and Arizona, and we kind of just did that little there's so much beautiful things to see there, but you go to Walmart and
I'll go to Walmart. Here
and
we go.
and everyone has a gun on them.
Yeah. Where were you? What state?
Utah.
Utah. Yeah.
Like everyone, it's just the norm.
Yeah.
It's just such the norm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I safe? And then they're like, you're really safe. I'm like, but really? Like,
Oh, probably. I mean,
I don't know. It's just so crazy. It's just all about
Yeah,
God and guns down there.
yeah.
God and guns.
But I'd rather be in a place where the good, God-fearing people that have structure and morals have a gun, not just the bad guy.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to be in a Walmart in Texas, I'm not going to worry so much because
You're
if a
not?
bad guy comes in, I know there's probably grannies around every corner that are going to pull out their pistol and look after this guy.
But what if you mistakenly bump into someone
Yeah,
and they have a
that-
gun and they're like, oh my God, you just
Yeah,
totally
and they've
ruined
had
it.
a bad
Yeah, I
day
suppose.
and they're slightly drunk or something. Or,
Drunk in Walmart with a gun.
Yeah. It's
it
just,
don't know.
doesn't sound out of the realm of possibility. I don't know.
Well, it's
I
like,
know.
Like last episode, we talked with Cheryl Poe.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I just-
about the mass shooting and how that guy was not supposed to have any guns.
He wasn't.
Wasn't. No, he had a violent crime in the 90s, like beating up a teenager. So he was.
How did he get the gun?
He would buy them in America and drive down.
Freaking America.
Yeah, he
Sorry.
would sneak them in. But here we had the gun laws were in place, and the guy still found a way around it.
Interesting. That's scary.
It is very scary.
That,
but if you
unstable
got to have
people-
one thing, you got to have nobody has guns or everybody has guns. Because
Yeah.
if you ban the guns, only bad guys have guns.
Yep.
And then what do you do?
Right? Then we're
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's a scary thing. Guns.
It is scary things, but if the guns aren't the scary thing, crazy people are the scary thing.
Having a gun, having that.
Well, in
Yeah.
countries where you don't
accessibility to
have
it.
guns, people just get stabbed instead. So
It's true.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you have like
At least you have a chance when you get stabbed. Like at least you can kind of fight a little bit.
I guess it would be like dogs, though. Is there bad dogs?
Yes.
Is it the bad owners?
Well, like I said earlier, there's inbreeding, and there's and when there's
Nobody's
inbreeding,
inbreeding
there's short fuses,
Yeah. Yeah. I
And-
guess, yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Like I've met numerous dogs that I didn't think they were able to be trained
Wow.
because of it. Like those dogs where like their pupils do not dilate, they just stay dilated the whole time. Like they're just taking they're just
I guess
taking up
they
the
would
whole.
be like people. I
Yeah.
guess there's some people that just can't be trusted.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like there's so that's why I said I have like an open-minded approach. Why is this dog like this?
Mm-hmm.
Is it there's a roots to behaviors like from the owner, or was it bred this way?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess the same with people. You get some people that are just broken
Yeah.
from the birth, like some kind of mental disorder where they're just not, they
Yeah.
just don't tick like the rest of us. And there's some people that have trauma.
Yeah.
And then I guess if you put that mental disorder with the trauma, you get real bad results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I dealt with a dog that came from a hoarding situation.
Hoarding?
Yeah, like this woman, she was dealt with here in Nova Scotia. Anyway, she became sick and she had like I think 80 plus dogs in her house.
Hoarding dogs. I thought you meant hoarding like stuff.
I know.
Hoarding dogs. Wow. Because you
And-
can't look after 80 dogs.
No, not by yourself. And she had developed cancer. And anyway, but she didn't want to get rid of these dogs. And she was a breeder as well. Anyway, the SPCA came and took them. But I dealt with numerous dogs from that situation. And there's just some that I couldn't help.
Wow.
I mean, they were in the crate their whole life. And it was stacked on top of another crate. And they're peeing and pooping into the
shit.
like they just were so far gone.
Yeah.
And a simple life is the only thing that they could have that would, don't ask too much of them or they'll flee or fight.
Yeah.
They're just going to stay in that response their whole life, fight or flight. Yes. So you can't help them all. And it's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely put a good effort in, but sometimes
You got to try.
Oh yeah.
You got to try.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, I was at a reunion once and met a lady who worked for the United Nations trying to rehabilitate child soldiers.
Really?
Yeah,
And-
young
and-
men that had been taken from their homes and were taught to rape and kill preteen and
Is there
teenagers.
anything? Is there any coming back from that?
How? You
What-
know,
so-
she said, I said, how do you do this? And she's like, she tries her best, but I'm like, what's the success rate? She's like, it's not good.
Yeah. So this is what I do with dog. Like, so it's much like people. Like whatever a dog endures within the first 6 months of their life will impact them for the rest of their life. So when a dog is 6 months, they're actually 12 in human years. So whatever we endure within the first 12 years of our life will impact us for the rest of the
Right.
life. So like, there's little we can do
Right.
with that. Like if they've had
That
such a
programming is,
you're a mold.
Yeah.
You're molding. You're taking everything in at that.
It's so impressionable.
So
impressionable.
impressionable,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a period that you're a sponge and you're taking everything in, and it's
and that's why these warlords go into villages and take the preteen boys, because they can shape
Brainwash
them a
them,
program.
yeah.
They give them power. They give them a gun. They teach them to kill and rape at 12, 13, 14 years old. And then
Wow.
and then the United Nations gets these young men, rescue them, and how do you?
So is there
How do
a
you
success rate with that? Like
Not very good.
interesting.
But what do you do?
You have to help.
You
You have to try.
You have to try. You have to try.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the
there
success rate
probably
is very,
is some
very
people
slow.
will be like, okay, like that like maybe up until I was 4 years old, I had a really good home life, and maybe it could come back and opening up that aspect in their brain. They'd be like, okay, I remember this part. Like this, I don't know. I couldn't even imagine.
That's the hard thing, right? Like resources and time and energy and love are so rare in this world.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Time is
time it's hard.
it's our
and
enemy.
then, and you find some good people that want to invest in those things to help quality of life for people or animals or households and stuff like. But then you just come up against some of these situations where it doesn't seem to matter how much you invest. The odds are really, really against you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like same with addictions and stuff like that. Like some of the odds are really, really against folks.
Yeah. No, especially if you had, family that were in that too, then it's just, genetics going.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard. I find that addiction's really hard here, especially in Nova Scotia. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think it's like anything where there's hard economic times,
Yeah.
trauma, and cycles.
And maybe like small world, like everything's kind of.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't seen outside of your bubble,
True.
you don't understand a life beyond that. That's why I think getting
And you're
kids to
after
travel
and you're
so
after
forth.
that dopamine,
Right.
and you're not going to travel to Europe.
Right. You know that's not going to happen. Right?
You're
Like
not
if you're poor in a small neighborhood here, I mean your list of dreams can get pretty short pretty fast.
So what do you have after that?
Right.
Yeah.
What are you chasing?
Exactly.
The meth, because you can get that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It is scary. And that's why it's important for people to have dreams, not limit ourselves.
To have something to fight for and to wake up and work towards. I mean, that's how I feel. Like I live in the woods alone, and I mean, if I didn't have these dogs and these goals that I had to, do in 21 days, like it'd be hard to just be in the woods, not doing anything.
Right. We have a mission. You have a
I have a
goal.
mission.
You have a purpose.
I have a mission. These dogs need to, be at a certain point at a certain time, and if I didn't wake up and have that in my head, like, God, that would be hard.
Yeah. And I mean, I've read the reviews. You're meeting your purpose. You're doing cool things. You're making a difference in people's lives, in the dogs' lives, in people's households, in the community. And I've mentioned, people say, what kind of guests you're going to have on the show? And I've said, we got this person, that person. We got Lindsay, the dog trainer. Like, oh, Lindsay, I know. So many people said great things. Like my cousin took their dog to her and she helped them. Or my parents had this dog they couldn't handle and she was great. Like,
I love that.
The word's gotten around. Yeah.
I've been in the valley for a long time.
You're making a difference for people.
That's ultimately my goal. Like, I just want dogs. Like, if we're gonna have dogs, we want them to live full lives, right? We don't want them to be like, I can't take my dog out. It has to stay in the house, right? Like, that would suck.
Yeah.
So if I'm able to help dogs and able to help owners be able to communicate with the dogs and promote them to be good leaders, right? Then I feel like I can sleep good at night. Yeah.
That having a purpose, like you say, is good for the dogs. Like if it's a working dog, it needs a job.
Yeah, absolutely. All dogs need jobs, but it doesn't necessarily mean like, okay, you need to get some sheep.
Yeah.
Like how I train, like, going on a walk is a job. Like, I trump everything. I trump all environments. You curve to me. Like, not necessarily like a hyper-focused staring at me the whole walk, but like if I slow down, you're slowing down. If I speed up, you're speeding up. If I stop, you're like a structured walk where it's me and the dog against the world instead
and
of.
He knows you're in control.
Yeah.
The dog is safe.
That's working.
Yeah.
So if we can develop a working relationship with our dogs to some degree, not necessarily like, full time, but at least periodically throughout the day, then they become a more, their confidence levels go up because they're like, okay, this is expected of me. Because usually, usually dogs wake up and their life's a question mark. They're like, okay, well, no one's telling me to do anything, so I'm just going to bark at everything and have a forwardness in life and react.
Yeah.
But if they have expectations put upon them, they're like, okay, I need to do this when this happens. I need to go to place. I teach dogs to like stay in a certain area until I release them. Like, that's an expectation. They're like, okay, this is like, they love that stuff.
And they get a reward and they know they're meeting their purpose.
Yeah.
Right? And we're like that too.
Yeah.
People are like that too.
Could you
like
imagine
if we have
waking?
no purpose.
Yeah. Could you imagine waking up and be like, what do I do with my life? Like, could you imagine the anxiety that would bring?
It does. Well, Jordan Peterson, Canadian
Love him.
psychologist, he says a lot about anxieties from having too many options.
Huh.
Yeah, he said if you're dropped in the desert and you could walk in any direction, 360 degrees, you're going to have extreme anxiety because you have too many options.
But if you have a path.
If you have a path, you have a purpose, you got to go that way, people have a lot more hope. You got a direction to go.
Yeah.
And that's why he says first thing in the morning, get up, make your bed.
Yep.
Yeah, make your damn bed.
Yep.
Have a plan. And I suffer with a lot of anxiety and winter depression especially. And
Yep, I'm
over
with
the
you.
winter, I got up, make my bed, get up on a regular time, get in the cold plunge, do the yoga.
Do you do that every day?
Every day. Well, not now. I do a cold shower now, but I have to do a cold therapy every day. It's just part of the discipline. It's part of doing a very difficult thing that you can pat yourself on the back, say,
Something uncomfortable.
Something uncomfortable. You make yourself do it, and then you feel strong. Okay,
Yep.
I've made my bed. I've made my coffee. I've done my cold thing, and I've already got like 3 little wins on the go. And then you get a little bit of momentum for the day. But if you get up and you're directionless, or you don't get up and you're kind of floundering around, you don't know what to do, it can induce anxiety.
Yeah. So could you imagine waking that up every day like that as a dog?
You don't even have the understanding, do you? Like
They can't impose that on themselves.
And
They
so
don't
at least
have
if they're in the wild, they would have purpose.
Right.
Yeah, they need to go get food or something.
So people are like, might be bad, but people are bringing up dogs from like down south, like not necessarily Texas, but like, people are going to resorts and like, oh, I fell in love with a dog. Those resort dogs, like in Mexico and Cuba and Dominican, they are the happiest dogs I've ever seen.
Really?
Well, yeah. But they're hanging out at resorts. People are coming up and feeding them. My mother just went to Mexico, and she has this picture of these dogs that are like, bellies are full, passed out on the lawn of the resort.
Tourists been looking after them.
They're like those, and then we're taking them away, and then they just totally lost their whole ambitions and their whole goals in life, and they're just on the couch. They
had a routine.
They had a routine. They're like, all right, supper time. I'm going to hang out by the buffet.
I suppose they're they're breeding and they're overproducing, and it gets to be a bigger issue.
No,
right?
like they're like, like they're the happiest dogs, and we're taking them away from that. And I'm like, I can see like maybe down in Texas where there's a shortage of food, but down there and like when like resort dogs, I would never take them away from that.
I want to move to a resort.
Could you imagine? And like they get fed so much. Like everyone loves dogs, right? And they're like, I'm gonna tame this resort dog. So they like, I'm gonna eat my food, and then I'm gonna take a plate of some food for the dog and feed that.
The dogs are probably eating better than some of the locals.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Probably eating steak and everything, because that's what.
Yeah. And then that's one person, but then there's like 4 other people that want to tame this dog too. So it's getting multiple plates of food.
Dog is doing well.
That's why these dogs are like all like they're just like, this is the life. So like so they they suntan all day, and then they
Wow.
Yeah. It's like
They have a purpose.
They have a purpose.
Yeah.
They have a purpose.
But that's what we all need, I guess.
I think
and like,
so.
We're living in a wild environment where your purpose is survive.
Yep.
Like it's written, it's decided. They say
Yep.
like I think there's a documentary called The Happy People. It's about like some people up north Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And they're the happiest people because they're very close to like hunter-gatherers. Like they don't have anxiety about paying the bills or anything like that. They know what's expected of them.
So
Same thing that was expected of their great-great-great-great-grandfather, and probably 5 generations later, it's the same thing.
So do you think going back to being self-efficient would be the answer? Like just to be able to have...
I mean, I don't want to give up my Netflix and my comfy
Not
bed and
necessarily.
stuff like that. But I think like having some of the luxuries is great, but I think we need to impose a little bit of suffering and a little bit of restraints and structure on ourselves.
Which is
Yeah.
Which is the hardest
I don't
thing
want
to
to
do
have to go forage for my food.
But it's fun to grow some of your own food.
Gardening has to be like, I just planted my garden a week ago, and every day like I'm looking to see like what's like it's something so like growing your own food has to be the most amazing thing to do.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
As long as you actually get something out of it, because we're not very good at it in my house. But
Ben, you have a 3-year-old little girl, Adeline, and you guys are planting vegetables in the yard this year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
Because
awesome.
you want her to see that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But we'll see how well it turns out. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's like it's
educational.
there's a whole routine to it. You've got like the structure to it, and she's asking questions, she's getting her hands dirty, and
Oh, it's perfect. Like
Yeah.
I love the farm effect for a young kid. I love the farm effect for a dog too.
Yeah.
Well, just getting dirty and getting
being
getting
outside in the
more
weather
natural.
with stuff, and then there's birds around and just nature and stuff, and you're just there, and you're sort of very much more in the moment. As soon as you go inside, it's a lot duller.
Yeah.
In a way,
Well, it's
Right?
not our natural state.
Yeah, we should be
I think
outside
we've
all
evolved
day.
for hundreds of thousands
Oh,
of
yeah.
years under certain type of rules, And now in the last 100 years or so, since industrialization, like it's a whole different thing. And we're like this creature that's like the dogs, you know? We're put in this environment that's not really natural to us. And of course there's going to be anxiety and questions and
think like,
I don't know how to do this.
50 years ago, dogs were never inside.
Yeah.
No, that's
not
true.
even 50 years ago. When I was a kid, dogs were inside.
Is that true?
Yeah. Well, I grew up on the
That's
farm,
almost
right?
50
Like,
years ago,
dogs
to
stayed
be
outside.
And then now they're inside on top of the couch and...
Well, yeah. I mean, no, I remember when I was a kid, like people wouldn't have the dogs wouldn't be allowed on the couch and stuff. Right?
Yeah, so now think of it. And no wonder there's so many behavior issues. So like back when I first started dog training, there wasn't very many dog trainers. Maybe for obedience, but not for behaviors.
Yeah. Some of the happiest dogs I've seen have been guard dogs, actually.
Yeah.
They're
Like junkyard dogs. You know what I mean? Like
because they've got a purpose. They know exactly what they're doing. They keep people out of here, and that
no, exactly.
They're really happy with
Dogs with jobs have purpose, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like you have to go out of your way for them to have a job. Just anything, any expectation that you put on them. It's like, okay, all right.
And
Like-
it's the same with children. I mean, I have 3 kids, 21, 19, and 15, and I've had responsibilities for them all along. I remember taking Lucas, he's 19 now, and he's a pretty responsible kid. But when he was 5 years old, I remember being at the public pool, and he wanted something out of the car. And I said, okay, here's the key, go get it. And one of the parents was like, what do you mean you're giving your car keys to a 5-year-old? I'm like, you watch him. So he walks out to the parking lot, he looks both ways. He pushes the button, he gets his towel out of the car, he locks it, he comes back, he gives me the key. And I watched him the whole way, made sure he was safe, but I'm like, he has responsibility. And he's so proud of himself that he did exactly what was expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came back, he's on this, and the lady's like, I could never trust my kid with that. I'm like,
But have you ever given him the opportunity
you never
to?
give him the opportunity to.
Or did you overtalk the whole situation to be like, okay, like don't touch anything else, like
Or hover over them, or
plain and simple
whatever.
sometimes is the best, you
Yeah.
know? And I find that with dogs, we do a lot of negotiation with them, especially when it comes to them being scared.
Yeah.
We're like, it's okay, it's all right, like I got you, which is not what they want because they think you're on the exact same page as them. So someone needs to step up and be like, okay, this is what you do, right? You don't go down to their level. You be a leader in that situation.
You really only grow, though, when you have the opportunity to fail.
True.
If there's a real safety net, how much are you really growing?
No, nothing at all.
Nothing at all. We need opportunities to fail.
We need to go outside of our comforts.
It's like when our ancestors were coming here and you had to get the crops in before winter because there's no superstore. There's no
no
backup. There's
superstore.
You
No
die.
farmer's
social service.
market.
No, there's no rescuing you.
There's no little bit, little.
You get shit done or you don't, and that's how it goes. And you grow, and there's strength in that. I mean, and that can be harsh and cruel, and that can be difficult. And I wish that we had a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite to that extent, but I wish we had a little bit of that. I think we need to impose that on ourselves, taking risks, like starting a business like you've done or like I've done,
Yeah.
whatever it is, take a risk.
Yeah. Isn't that the biggest risk? Like being an
It is.
entrepreneur?
It is, but it's not. I mean,
Really?
well, yeah. I mean, these dopaminergic people that come here start this. What do? So the banks loan you money, start a business. If you fail, they slap you on the wrist, say you can't borrow for 7 more years.
Yeah.
Then you get to try again. I mean, the system is built for risk takers. But like I said, the people that came here a couple hundred years ago, they were taking real risks. Because if you didn't get your veggies in,
You're dying.
you're dead.
You're dead.
So
If you have a parasite or anything,
you're dead.
Yeah.
So entrepreneurs are very brave. A lot of people respect entrepreneurs in our part of the world, and we need that. But really, it's not that risky.
You don't think?
No.
Oh man.
It's not life or death.
I
If
just
we
think
fail, we're
yeah.
not gonna they
I know
don't
we-
put you in jail.
No, it's true.
They
True.
don't kill you.
True.
They just take some of your shit. They even let you keep the best shit, usually. Like your house and your car.
I just feel like I work, 24/7 to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Do you feel that at all?
Oh, I do. Absolutely. And I can have a little bit of pity for myself for that, but then I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a pioneer.
Right. Okay. I
Right?
like the way you think.
You're not flying to Mars and something fails.
It's not
you're gonna-
life or
Yeah.
death. I have to remind myself of that sometimes because I can wake up in the morning and be really anxious, like, oh, I gotta do this and that.
Yeah. That's
it's
how
like,
I
it
feel.
feels life or death because for
Your-
most of our human history, everything was life or death. So that nervous system response gets like,
Your cortisol's like,
Yes.
and that's really when
because
it spikes is in the morning.
Used to be, but we live in a world now where it's pretty safe.
Yeah.
We got to pay the bills. You got to call CRA. You got to do this or that. But it's not really life or death.
also
Sometimes
that's
you
the
just got to take a
not.
breath, have a cold shower, have a cup of coffee on the back deck, watch the sun, and say,
Yeah.
you know what? The best things in life are free.
Yep.
And I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
Bring my stress down and
Yep.
say, you know, what's the worst?
Yeah, no, I love your way of thinking.
I move in with my parents. If it all goes away, I move in with my parents and mom makes me breakfast.
I'm not allowed to move in with my parents.
I don't want to do that either. But you know what I mean? Like, I think our
I guess.
anxiety is a primitive, ancient
Yeah.
anxiety of like life or death.
Yeah.
And we're really not in a life or death. There's people in this world that are.
Yeah.
There's people right now in Gaza or Ukraine or places like that.
I
that
know,
are
I
in that
know.
life
And
or
when you
death.
put it in that
Yeah.
retrospect, it's a lot different. I guess we're our own worst enemy, especially when it comes to like, you know, I have this business, and if it's on me to make
Yeah.
it succeed, and if it
And
does,
it is.
I put too much pressure on myself for sure, but I think that's also a drive.
It is drive, but you don't want to drive yourself crazy. So
I'm there. No, I'm just kidding.
well, I think we all can be. But like, and you gotta realize too, like, what is real? Sunshine is real. Coffee is real. Relationships are real. Money, taxes, laws, all these things are pretend.
Taxes aren't real. I don't have
No.
to pay them.
It's all, everything society, even the laws are just made up.
Yeah.
Money is made up.
Yeah.
All these things are made up.
Yeah.
There's only so, like, I got to remind myself that sometimes, like, oh, there's only so many things that are actually real.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is kind of this story that we've made up
Yeah.
to have some structure. And we need structure.
We
I'm
need
not saying
structure.
it's not important. I'm saying sometimes you just need to take a time out, step back, and have some sunshine and some coffee or a hug or a walk and reset yourself and then
Yeah.
come back to the game. Because that's
Yeah.
all it is a game.
Yeah.
The society, the business, economics, it's just a game we play. It's Monopoly.
It is Monopoly.
It is Monopoly.
Yeah, no. You know what? Thank you for saying that. And like with your Instagram and stuff, like it's food, it's sunshine, it's your cold plunges, it's a simple life. And it kind of like when I go on my Instagram in the morning, it kind of brings me back to earth watching, like seeing that. Like it's
And that's why I do it.
Yeah,
Because I have to have those escapes from the stress of things. Because I got multiple businesses. Like,
yeah, you wear many hats.
yeah. And people say, how can you do it? I'm like, well, I guess I just kind of don't give a fuck.
That's a great way
It's
to
kind of, I mean, I care. I want to do the best I can, but not to the point of driving myself crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go through little bouts of that, like craziness,
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh my God, like this has to be perfect. Like especially like when I deal with dogs, like I have so much self-doubt. I'm like, did I do enough? Did I do enough? Did I do enough? Did I do enough? And that's what I deal with at night every day. I'm like, did I do enough with these dogs? And my God, they're with me from 7:30 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. Of course I've done enough,
Yeah.
right? Like but it's still there and I
Oh,
can't.
yeah. And I can do that too. There's always more to do.
I know.
Right? There's always more to do.
Right.
It's like the conversation we had with Cheryl, like in law enforcement, like there's always someone else that needs help. There's always some other crisis.
It's endless.
But you have to push pause and retreat and have some self-care, have some sanity, look
Yeah.
after your mind, your body, your relationships, or you can't keep going.
Yeah, and you know what? It took me a while. Like in my 20s, I was like, yeah, like let's do like 16 hours of work. Like let's do as much as I can. And then in my 30s, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to slow down, think about myself because I didn't think about myself
Yeah.
at all in my 20s. It was all about other people, dogs, helping other people, being in really shitty relationships, not thinking about myself at all. And then now I kind of like, you know, I'm glad I absorbed that and took that in, but now in my 30s, I'm like, oh, okay, like I really need to look after myself because it's just me.
Yeah.
Like, it's just me against the world, right? Like if I'm not, you know, of good mind and then everything else is going to slack, right? So I need to, you know, take deep breaths, work out. I try to go for like, I try to take an hour away from the dogs every day to go like kayaking or you know, do yoga or just simply be by myself.
Yeah.
Just so I can, you know, recenter and stuff.
That's something. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's all right.
That's something I really want to draw out of this whole podcast. Like we're interviewing just whatever people excelling at whatever, comedians, whatever.
Yep.
You know, dog trainers, we're having a mushroom farmer on next, RCMP officers, musicians, but anyone who's doing something at a high level, they really have to look after themselves.
And yeah,
You have to.
And I'm just finding that out now.
Yeah. And I listened to a podcast recently about a trauma expert. A lot of people that grow up in trauma, they have a burnout around 30.
Interesting.
In their early 30s. Yeah, because you've just been so
You're up
on
here.
edge
Yeah.
and vibrating really, really
Yeah.
high,
Can totally see that.
trying to please everybody, trying to look after everything, and you overgive and you burn out around 30, and then you usually settle. And most of us, hopefully, can find some boundaries and
Yeah.
some structure and kind of rebuild from there. But I guess you probably learned a lot in your 20s. So
I thought I knew everything.
well, yeah, but your experience is probably way more valuable now. You can probably get much done in 8 hours now that you did in 16 hours.
The things I know
in your
now
20s.
compared to 20s,
Save yourself a lot of time.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
what saved me, especially from what you said, the burnout, is I do a lot of walking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Long legs help.
they do a lot, but and I say this for dogs too, like anxiety hates a moving target.
Right.
So if we're able to like release it
Yeah.
in a way. So I mean, I walk probably 4 hours a day. Like I walk about 14 kilometers a day because of the dogs, right? And I think that there were so many times where I could have gotten to that burnout, but I had to be active.
Right.
So I couldn't be, stagnant.
Right.
If I was stagnant, I probably would have been crazy by now.
Right. Because the mind kind of shuts up when the feet are going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a release for your emotions. It's going someplace instead of just staying in your soul
Right.
and festering.
And the most people that get depressed or get down, they sit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they ponder and they overthink. And that's something that ancient people didn't have that luxury of doing.
yeah.
They didn't. You had to get up and perform.
Yeah.
And I think we're a bit killed by our comfort a little bit.
Yeah.
In the
So
world now.
so going back to caveman days, they said that they put anywhere between 1,500 15,000 to 17,000 steps today, and I try to do that every day. To go back to that, to know that I can do that, so to
Yeah.
know that I can be a caveman if I need to be. But, but I think that has helped me with my sanity. Is to be it's just to be moving, to be walking, and to release, and then it helps with dogs as well. Because most of the dogs I have, their owner couldn't walk them
Right.
because they pulled too much or they're reactive to the world, and so it's very therapeutic for me to release my stress and my doubt about if I'm doing a good job or not, and then for them to release their emotions as well. So yeah, movement.
So many people have office jobs, high stress office jobs.
I could never do an office job. Could you?
No, I hate having to sit at the computer.
The worst part of my job is emails.
Yeah. Oh, I hate it.
I can't
Yeah.
I just to be still for a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
It's
People
hard.
say, you're the boss. Why are you still serving tables? Or why are you brewing the beer?
and I
Why are you
love
doing
that
what?"
about you.
I have to.
Yeah.
I will go insane.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, no, sitting down, I would be a poor boss if I had employees. I would have to, well, I shouldn't say that. I would just want to be doing what they're doing, right?
Oh yeah, they don't work for me; they work with me, and I love that. But as the company grows, I do have to delegate a little bit more. In order for me to carve out the time to do this, and I love this, but I've had to get a little more bossy, I guess.
Since you took this on.
Well, leading up to this, because
Yeah.
this has been a goal of mine for 2 years, but back
Good
during
for you.
COVID, I just couldn't manage the time, right?
Yeah.
When had a labor shortage, and it was hard to find people to take responsibility. So this is
We
something I
got the-
just
we got
kept
the
getting
CERB.
put on the
Everyone-
back burner. And then I finally got some great foreign workers and some great people taking responsibility, and I've been making them take responsibility and urging them to take responsibility, because it's not my natural state, but I knew I had to do that to free up my time to do things like this or to renovate the rest of the building and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's been a long time coming,
Yeah.
and it was a very emotional thing to do our first episode here a couple weeks ago, because it was when you reach this goal that you've had for a couple of years, damn, it's real now.
It's here.
It happened.
Oh, yeah. It must have been the best
Happened.
feeling though.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing of the healthy dopamine. So when you have a goal
Yep.
and you're taking on these little steps towards that goal, you're getting these shots of dopamine, which is healthy dopamine, healthier than snorting cocaine. So, there's unhealthy ways to get dopamine. There's healthy ways to get dopamine. You have a goal, you set goals,
Yep.
which I think we all need a goal.
Every day we need daily goals to
We need
complete.
daily goals. Yeah, I have goals on my screen of my phone.
Yeah, I've seen that on
every time
Instagram.
I open my phone,
It's that's a good goal.
all these photos to help keep my mind of where
Yeah.
my energy is being
Yeah.
focused. You gotta have
Yeah.
goals, and then every little thing you do towards that, you get this little shot of happy juices in your brain.
Yep.
So you're working towards something. If you're just hiding back, protecting, scared, fearful, you're getting other kind of juices in your brain. It's like promoting that depression kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
so important for people to have direction, goals, ambition, and to like big, bold ones, and just take it off one bite at a time.
And that feels so good to put that check mark in.
It does.
It feels so good to
Yeah.
complete a task, even
Yeah.
a small task. Like
Yeah.
even like me completing, I try to do so as an entrepreneur, I don't know how you feel. I when emails came to me, I used to like every time an email came, I would stop everything I was doing and respond to it. But now I only take out 1 hour of my day to respond to emails.
Yeah.
And anything outside that hour, I get to it the next day.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was so spread thin. But
Yeah.
so I guess going back to like, okay, one of my tasks is to complete the emails for that hour. For an hour, I respond to emails. If I don't get to them all in that hour,
And if it comes in later, it can wait till
yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah.
And I was such a people pleaser. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
You can't do that. You burn out.
I need to respond within like like a certain amount of time because like they might lose interest and go somewhere else. And so I said, well, if they lose interest, then that's fine.
Yeah. Because
Like,
you got to keep your sanity.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, even that, completing that, like waking up and completing that email task, feels so good.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to look at the screen
Yeah.
again today.
I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook yesterday, but it was I put the pro in procrastination.
Oh yes. I don't believe that though.
I do, because there's things I hate, like emails and going to the mailbox.
But does that make you that though?
I procrastinate on some things.
But does that make but you're putting your energy into something else though. So
I'm always putting my energy into something else.
so it doesn't really necessarily make you.
The thing is, I think with any entrepreneur, like you're a one-woman show, right? Like
Yes.
you're the only person in your company. So
Yes.
that's tough. That's
I do
tough
have
space.
helpers.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like
Like
no one in like administrative stuff.
no, God, no.
Yeah. So I'm like, my goal
I would love
is to
that.
get to the place where, as I grow the company, accommodations, restaurant, brewing company, podcasting, all this stuff, I get to make my own job description. That's my goal. So I will make a job description that suits my insanity. The things that I love to do, the creative parts or the social parts, I get to carve that out for me. And then as the pie gets bigger, I get to hire people to do the things that I may not do so
Yeah.
well. And I used to think that was like copping out or being undisciplined, but no,
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think that
Not
we
necessarily
all
copping
have-
out, but just like the individual of you answering that email instead of someone else that's not you answering that email.
I don't care. I
All right.
hate emails. I'm going to have someone else do that stuff.
Well, that's what I want too. So it
And
makes
then
me
if
feel
it's
good that you're saying
important-
that.
And if it's important if it's something that I do need to handle, then they can bring that to my attention.
Gotcha,
Because I
yeah.
find that so exhausting.
It's so exhausting. And a lot of times, like within my emails, they want all their dog questions answered within that email. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I gotta meet
That's
the
not
dog,
how it works.
right?
Yeah.
And 7 years ago, I stopped giving out my number
Yeah.
because I was getting calls at the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting calls when I was working with a dog that needed my full attention, and frantic calls. Like usually, people call me when it's too late for their dog. Like my dog bit someone. My dog bit another dog. Like what do I do here?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Like you needed to see the warning signs
Right.
and then call me. Not when it's
Help them over the phone after the fact.
so I had to stop because it was affecting my sanity. I would be working 14 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and then I would come home and respond to calls for 3-4 hours, and everyone wants their questions answered
Yeah.
about their dog in that time. So it was hard. Yeah, I had to stop giving out my number. Like I had to for me to continue on doing this training, this business. I had to stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone responds, and if they don't like it, people are like, "How do you have a business and no phone number?" I'm like, "Well, I'm doing it, and it's working."
That's right. And you get to make the rules. It's your company.
It's hard. It's harder with the older individuals because some of them are not like tech savvy.
Yeah.
They don't have a computer, and I understand that. And
Yeah.
and I don't. And I'll definitely with that situation, I'll definitely call them and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, no number.
Yeah. Well, you want to be in this long term.
Yes,
You
I
don't
would
want
love
to
to.
burn out, you got to be in this long term. You got to look after yourself a little bit. And I remember like from my church experience, I was a pastor for 10 years, grew up in the church. And I remember a missionary coming, he was a doctor in Africa, and he would go out there in the hot sun, had a little tent, and he would look after people with no health care, and they would line up, and by the end of the day he'd be exhausted, and he had to quit before the lineup was done every day, and it was one of the hardest things he ever had to do. But the lineup would never end, and if he wanted to be able to come back tomorrow, he had to stop.
He had to put a limit.
He had to go get hydrated. He had to eat. He had to sleep and come back the next day.
Yeah.
And it was like hardest thing to do. And you see so many people in the caregiving things like RCMP, military, teachers, moms, dog trainers, pastors, whatever. They're burning out. The compassion fatigue, they call it.
Yeah, you're putting so much into other individuals and it's just sucking you dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can see that. It's good that he recognized that, though. He probably didn't at first. He probably wanted to see everyone, and then he's getting.
And then you get overtired, and then you make mistakes, and then you resent people, and
exactly.
That's not good.
You have to have boundaries.
You do. That's a hard thing to do.
It is, but as you get older, as I got older, I realized that I made boundaries. Mm-hmm. Like I had to. Mm-hmm. I had to. Yeah. I mean, they're not favorable for a lot of people, but for my sanity and for my job sake.
You know what? I've come to terms with that too. Like the people that interact with you, what do they interact with you with? 5-10 minutes?
Exactly.
A month?
Yeah.
Their expectations can wait. You have to deal with you 24/7.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're burning out and you're wearing yourself down and you're driving yourself crazy and your mind and your body and your soul is sick, that's not good.
Yeah, no, it's not good, and everything slacks, and people can see that too.
Yeah, they can see that, and your quality of your work is suffering too. So like, their 5-10 minute need can wait.
Can wait.
Yeah.
So I can be my best self for you.
Yeah, and it's like, and I've disciplined myself and lucky enough to arrange my life so I can wake up. The first couple hours of the day is for me, like it's the coffee, the cold shower, the yoga, the run, the workout, all that kind of stuff. Meditate, whatever it is. I gotta do that first. And there's sometimes when I get up and there's something pressing and I gotta run to the hardware store before whatever. And then I get off my routine and my day just is off track.
Really? You need that in the morning.
I am that crazy. No,
you're not that crazy.
I really need that discipline.
No, that's perfect. I think everyone should be like that. Because like I said, like just like with dogs, like people that, have low ambition, like their life's a question mark, mm-hmm. right? And it brings anxiety. So if you know what's expected, if you have things and tasks that need to be completed, that brings so much more joy into your life than just willy-nilly it.
And I got to get my protein in, all that kind of stuff.
You eat really late at night.
I eat steady. Well, I'm in the bar business. I don't get home till midnight or 11 o'clock.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But you eat a big meal at 1 o'clock in the morning.
My roommate's a 19-year-old boy. My son.
So he's like with you.
He's playing video games hours after that.
Oh God. Yeah. Remember those days where you could just like stay up all night and then wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning?
I don't go to bed till like 2.
Really?
Usually, yeah.
What time will you wake up?
9:30, something like that.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good.
But like
sleep.
then a couple hours for me, then I go to work, and it's just a different kind of schedule.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, different lifestyle.
Different lifestyle. I'm in the bar business.
Yeah. I'm like that too when I first get dogs and they're full of anxiety. I'm up all night.
Yeah.
I'm up all night.
I bet. Well,
sometimes drinking. No,
yeah. Sometimes. Sometimes.
Nothing wrong with that sometimes.
I feel like I live in a college dorm sometimes. It's me and a 19-year-old and his friends.
Yeah, awesome though. That's good.
Yeah.
It's good to get that youthful energy around
Video
you.
games and weed and
love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm single. It doesn't matter. Like.
Yeah. Soak it in.
Soak it in. Take it well. Yeah, this bonding time.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's great. Yeah.
You're cool. You seem like a cool dad.
Well, don't tell him that.
No,
right? he likes to spend time with me.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's good. It's at that age, like 19, starting to like really idolize his dad, probably, and like.
I don't know. He talks shit to me sometimes.
He might not voice it,
but he does like to spend time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably the greatest gift of all.
Oh, it's amazing. Because like in the early days when I was starting the company 8 years ago or so, I was very busy. And one of the greatest regrets I have is being too focused on building a company. And around that time, trying to build a company, the marriage is breaking down.
Oh, sounds like mine.
Neglected the kids a little bit. I did. I wasn't there for them.
Yeah.
There was times when you're just working steady, trying like
Yeah.
I dug the hole to build. We found, I think it was March 8th, 2016. Took the tractor, started digging, built the building by myself from the sod up.
That's amazing.
And I was open. Started March 8th, and I opened August 4th. So all day, every day, sun up, sun down, just work. And there was times Lucas came at 10 years old and was helping put up the walls and stuff like that. But when you're making a sacrifice like that, you do miss out on some things.
Yeah, it's hard to maintain balance, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, especially being an entrepreneur, because I feel like you have to put your whole self into it, and then everything else slacks.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can you, I think it's impossible to maintain balance. Something always has to give.
Some things have to be out of balance for a little while.
Yeah, and then they all balance out. But sometimes,
But at the
balances
time,
off.
like I had come out of family farming. I was a 5th generation farmer, and the farming had gone all to crap. We lost a lot of money.
What did you guys farm?
Mink for fur.
Shit.
You made me say that on the air. Yeah.
So
thanks.
sorry.
So sorry. I'm sorry too. But I love what I do now better. No one bites me here, and it
Oh my
smells a
God.
lot better. Yeah. So yeah, came out of that, and I've got 3 children to support,
Yeah.
and we've lost almost $1 million in 3 years. So
Oh, gross.
I was lucky enough to get on MasterChef Canada, come home, cash in my life insurance, started a brewery. I'd never worked in a restaurant. I'd never worked in a restaurant or a brewery ever in my life, and I opened both of them at the same time.
Let's do it.
Saying, let's just roll the dice. Let's go. Here we go. But it was kind of do or die. It's like when you're a young father, it's protect, provide, and you're obsessed over it.
So you were a pioneer.
I guess so. Yeah.
You were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of do or die.
And I must say, I really love how Roofhound got its name.
Yeah. Being a dog person, you like beer and dogs, don't you?
Right. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, there's so much overlap with the craft beer and dog world. There really is.
Yeah.
Right.
They kind of go hand in hand
They
for some.
really do.
Yeah.
People come in here because if you haven't been in the tap room, there's a lot of black and white pictures of dogs all over decorating the place. And people say, I want a picture of my cat. I'm like, no, you go to a wine bar for that shit.
Oh, is
not
that
here.
where the cats belong? The wine bar?
Yes.
That sounds right to me.
Have you been to that kind of establishment?
Yes.
So I mean, craft beer and dogs just seem to go.
They go hand in hand.
They
And
go
it's
hand
something
in
so beautiful about bringing your dog for a beer with you.
Yeah. I mean, we can't have them in the building, but on the patio, yeah, because we have food. We have food here. So
And you
food
found
labs.
probably in England that happens a lot. Like there's lots of dogs that are allowed in
Oh, I think,
in pubs.
Yeah. I think, again, a lot of them have to stay outside, like in the terrace, like the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But depends on the pub, actually.
Okay. If they serve food or not.
Yeah. Food loss. Yeah.
Food loss.
Yeah, it was a huge undertaking, a huge risk, and
Yeah,
it does
good.
obsess your mind. You're borrowing money, you're taking this risk. you're
It
following
takes up your
dream.
whole life
It
and your
really
whole
does,
thoughts.
and you're doing. And I find anything you're doing first time is way harder, right? It's way harder. Like this is our 3rd episode, so everything is.
Am I easy?
Still a little bit.
Is this
Oh
easy?
yeah, this is easy, very
Yeah,
easy.
you got
But,
the
like,
kinks out?
well, maybe we'll see. But the first video didn't turn out, so the first episode doesn't have video. The second
shoot.
video, we have video, but it's from here down.
Where am I? I'm kind of
I said,
tall.
let's turn the camera up because
we thought
Lindsay and
about
I are quite tall. But you know what? We went into it and realizing there's going to be imperfections.
Oh
there's
my
gonna be
gosh. And that's how
mistakes.
you learn.
We're just going to do it. We'll learn as we go.
Yep.
Can't expect perfection.
That's all right if our heads are
Anyone
cut off.
Right. Anyone that wants to do something, don't beat up on yourself. Don't expect perfection. Jump in, figure it out as you go. And that's the best way.
Yep.
There's a Navy SEAL, Jocko Willink, I think his name is. He wrote a book called Extreme Leadership. And he just talks about action. If you're a Navy SEAL, you're in a battle scene, the worst thing you can do is freeze.
Yes.
You're going to get shot.
Yes. So
Just
fight.
Move. Do something.
Yeah.
Even a bad plane is better than no plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. So we had a bit of a deadline for episode 1. Tide and Timber had a CD coming out,
Oh,
an
no.
album coming out, and we wanted to get the episode out before that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if we
Oh,
hadn't
good
had
promotion.
that deadline, January 1st, we would have probably hesitated and kept, trying to make things perfect or insecurities hold us back a little bit. We're like, no, we have a deadline now. We're doing it. We're in. If there's mistakes, we forgive ourselves in advance. If
Yep.
somebody wants to criticize us,
Let them criticize.
send me the link to your podcast. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And anyone
absolutely.
who's really successful is not going to be bothering us anyway because they know how hard it is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard to put yourself out there like you've done. And
It is, but that's how you grow.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We're only here for a short time.
We are.
You might as well give it your all.
Can't hesitate forever. I know somebody said the graves are full of untapped potential.
Oh, that's
right?
deep.
It is. Like people have all kinds of dreams.
Yeah. But they don't act on them.
They don't act on them. They don't always have that courage to just jump in and go for stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
No. And I think it does take a certain type of person. I never thought that I would be like, I'm, was always really shy and really held back. But my passion for animals overrode that.
Why is it the tallest people that are always so shy? It's
Right?
like we stand out the most and we're trying to be
I
the
know
smallest.
we're trying to be small.
Yeah.
I mean, I was this height when I was 11 years old. So you can imagine me in high school. Like, I mean, the guys aren't going to catch up until like grade 11, right? And I'm just like here,
Tallest
6
person.
foot. So I definitely tried to make myself, and it probably affected my personality as well, being as tall. But I think having, being picked on in school, not so much in high school, but in elementary, it was terrible. I think it can affect you deeply, but it could also make you stronger to be able to handle life a little bit
Oh,
better.
absolutely. You
Right?
need some bullshit.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm able to handle backlash because
Yeah.
because I had that. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I built up a tolerance for
Right.
it and able to kind of brush it off versus if maybe I had a privileged life and maybe it would have affected me deeper.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just hypothetically, but yeah, I think that I'm glad that I got bullied, and I'm glad because I think it kind of made me a stronger individual.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
we need to bring back bullying. I don't know.
No.
No. Too far.
There are levels of this
But
thing
like
as well. There are
some,
levels as well.
but like I said, it's like grown-ups. We need some self-imposed structure and goals and discomfort.
Absolutely.
Children need that too.
Yeah.
Dogs need that. They need some we need something. We shouldn't get just because parents you can afford to give your kids everything doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. Make
Yeah.
them work for it. Make it be a privilege or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's so true about uncomfortableness. Like the first week when a dog comes to me, they're very uncomfortable. Even when we start working on place where they have to stay in one position until I release them, like their mind is going way faster than their body.
Right.
And they look uncomfortable, right? They're panting. They're like, I'm used to like following you to the bathroom. I'm following you to the door. Like I'm used to being your sous chef. Like, and I'm here. Like I need, and so their mind's going like, so a dog owner would be like, oh, you're uncomfortable. I'm going to release you from that. But versus I realize it's a process and a week will go by and then they're like, oh, I feel really comfortable when I lay down. And oh my God, it makes me feel really relaxed. So I'm going to seek that out every time I go on place. And I'm not really going to care about what you do over there. Right? So it's like, you have to go to yourself.
Got to go through the discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so most people take their dog or take their child away from that. But really, that's how you grow.
Being killed by our comfort.
We are.
We got to
We can't
impose
be
our
too
own
comfy.
discomfort. You got to push yourself out of your comfort
That's
zone.
with your ice baths.
Take the risk. That's right.
Yeah.
Or the run or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Even
jumping into a podcast before you quite think you're ready. Because if you wait till you're ready,
Yeah.
you're never really ready.
You're never really ready.
You'll always come up with an excuse.
I was nervous and excited about this. Like, speaking is like, it's kind of on the back burner in my job, right? I'm not. so coming here and being like, Jesus, do I know how to communicate with people?
And you didn't bring me any treats.
I didn't bring any treats. I'm like,
I thought you'd be making me lay down.
yeah. So I'm like, I can dope myself forever.
Yeah, right? Just jump in.
Just jump in. And I was like, I was thinking about being sick today.
I wasn't going to be surprised because
really?
You've been saying you were a little nervous.
Oh yeah, but I would never. I stick to my word. I never would.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
But those thoughts cross your mind. Like,
Yeah.
am I ready? I'm gonna be like,
With everything.
am I gonna be a waste of time for him? Like, but I just said, frigate. I know what I'm talking about. I'm confident in myself.
Yeah.
So what more can I?
And even this is valuable for people. That you're a successful dog trainer, you have a successful business, you're paying your bills, you're getting by, and you're still self-doubting. And me, I'm doubting myself. We're all doubting ourselves.
We're
And I
all
think that's
people.
important. Not many
Yeah.
people are, not many successful people are vulnerable enough to talk about that.
And I think that's an important part of being not necessarily a leader, but like to show vulnerability.
Yes.
Just to let other people know that there's bumps on the road. Like,
Yeah.
everyone kind of wants to portray this perfect image of like, oh yeah, no, it all happens to be really easily and everything's no, that's not the case for most people.
Not the case.
No,
It's
no.
scary. There's days you want to bitch out. There's days you want to stay in bed. There's days when you really doubt or delay. And like with Jeremy with Tide and Timber, they're doing great now. And he said that I think it was a 16-year delay from the time he said he wanted to do that to the time he actually did
16
it.
years.
16 years.
Wow.
16, but he's doing it.
He's doing it.
He's doing it.
That's the important
And with
part.
Roofhound, I had that goal for probably 6 years before I
Yeah.
actually had the courage to do it. And it wasn't even courage. It was like a bad situation with my career that kind of forced my hand
Yep.
into it.
Yep.
You know, it's sometimes a little bit of uncomfortable push is
Yep.
what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's two different people in the world. People that will use that as an opportunity, and people will like, okay, I'm going to go on unemployment now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to let the government take care of me. So I think there's two different people in this world that will.
And like even like I say, like Elon Musk is like one of the richest, most successful people in the world. He has rockets and companies and all this stuff, but he never meets a deadline. He'll set a deadline. The Cybertruck was supposed to be like 3 years ago.
Interesting.
Missed it. And, Starlink was supposed to be done long ago. Missed that target. He always gets the goal done, but never quite on the timeline.
Huh.
But he's still trucks on. And,
Yeah.
and I call myself the dollar store Elon sometimes because I'm like the same way. Like I wanted to do this podcast 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Just didn't quite get it.
And maybe
I've
the
got
timing wasn't
projects
right.
on the the time. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm still like
It's on your back
going
of your
for
head.
it.
Yeah.
It's- I'm going to get there. I'm stubborn that way. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
not on the timeline, but
Thank you so much. It means so much to be on here and to spread the good word about dogs and
Yeah.
entrepreneurship and
I think there's some.
And demystifying it a little bit because
Yeah.
I learned something today, definitely.
Yeah.
Did you? Good.
yeah.
Good.
You going to train those cats?
Oh, I can't. I don't know.
No,
I don't think you can.
I don't want to. They do their own thing. They're quite happy.
Yeah.
They do not have anxiety at all.
That's good. That's good.
I think there's a lot of interesting correlations with dogs and humans, and I think a lot of it is because the world's changed so much
Yeah.
that we've kind of lost our purpose, and we need to like impose that purpose.
Yep. With dogs
ourselves.
and people. You're so
Dogs
right.
and people, yeah.
Yeah. No, dogs are slacking or lacking short because of us.
Because
of
nature used to impose discipline on us.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to impose on ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard. And,
It is.
and we're living in a softer society now, and like we've totally lost our ability to say no to dogs and to say no to kids. I think I don't have
yeah.
kids. People,
That's it. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That's it,
yeah. So like things
Or
are
say
changing,
no to ourselves even.
right?
Hard to say no to ourselves. Dairy Queen's right there. I can
Right?
stop and get a, yeah.
Absolutely, we've
Yeah.
lost self-restraint. But
Yeah, or the credit card debt, or all the,
Oh,
so
yeah.
much lack of discipline, and it takes people's freedom.
it does.
Really, to get to freedom, you need to have
Discipline.
self-discipline. Yeah,
And that's what I tell. That's a really good point because I tell people like a trained dog equals freedom for them. Mm-hmm. They have fuller lives
peace.
when they're trained,
Yeah.
or when they are curving to you for guidance. They're because when a dog is feral, their lives are small, and everything's small,
Stressful,
and stressful.
and they're living in fear.
They're living in fear their whole life.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, well,
No, it would suck. It would
I've
take
been
years
there.
off your life.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure it does.
Yeah. So if anything with this podcast, I hope people can, think of themselves more as guardians with their dog than best friends. Until that dog is making 100% good choices, then you can start being on the best friend avenue. But until
Right. Yeah,
then.
yeah. I guess that's same with Ralphie. He had a lot more structure when he was young. My kids, and now they're mature. And
Yeah.
grown
So
up
you can
and
let the reins go a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But you still mess up in your 20s.
Oh,
and you still need
Yeah.
guidance from your parents.
It's
or
not
your
the same as
grandparents.
when they were 5.
No, they have no idea. The world's new.
Yeah.
They have no idea what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
They very much need to be controlled, but as they get older, they're like, okay, the stove's hot.
Right. And you see like dogs act out when they feel insecure and unsafe. And I think kids act out when they feel insecure and unsafe too. If there's no structure or consistency or reliability, they're going to try and take control of the pack, just like a dog.
Or they can be like, not, I don't want to say suppressed, but like, or they're at their parents' coattails being like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. Like that's like, yanking at them.
Yeah.
Like both dogs are the same too. Like they're either like ahead or behind.
Right. If they're that 1 or that 6.
You got it.
Yeah,
Oh, you have
I've learned something.
Oh,
Yeah.
love it.
Well, maybe we should stop this while I'm running ahead. I answered a question.
Yeah. You know what's up now.
I don't know. We'll see. I've had one great lucky dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I think that sets the tone on other lucky dogs.
Yeah.
Because you have expectations.
Okay. I'm just going to bring him into the camera here for a sec before we say goodbye.
Yeah, sounds good. Ralph is like, I'm having a big sleep.
Is that okay to wake a dog from its nap? I don't know.
Some dogs will. Some dogs know.
probably-
Like if they're like, their defenses are lowered.
There we are. Check that out. What do you
Hi,
think,
buddy.
Ralphie? Huh? You want to go over see Lindsay?
Hi, Ralphie. So this is a good point. I'll never ever pat a dog unless it approaches me.
Really?
Oh,
But that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know. Like there's a certain amount of, you wouldn't do that to a human either, right?
right? Yeah, unless I'm like, oh, you're digging me? Okay. Okay.
So I see children approaching strange dogs in public places all the time. I'm like, oh, these children should not do that.
In my 20s, I had a hard time being a bitch, like with people approaching dogs, the insecure dogs. I'm like, do you really want to be bit? Like, so now I've learned the ability to say no to people approaching me with a dog. And it took a long time. It took a long time to tell people to like, no, this dog's in training or it's insecure, it doesn't like direct approaches. So and I've learned that I don't have to pat all the dogs, even though I'm,
You want to.
Yeah, I don't have to pat all the dogs.
Yeah.
You don't have to pat all the dogs.
Yeah.
So like, it's not going to hurt my heart if he doesn't come over here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, children want to do that, but it's even if the child approaches a nice dog, that's not a good habit to get into.
No,
because that
not all
child may the next dog it goes up to might not be so friendly.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Most dogs hate direct attention. Could you imagine me just coming at you right? Like, it's fairly intimidating.
Yeah.
It's so intimidating, and we think nothing of it with dogs. We're like, every dog should accept it.
Because we tell kids not to talk to strangers as people. I mean, like dogs are just as varied as people, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So it's not. It doesn't hurt my heart at all, Ralphie.
Ralphie, you want to go say hi? He's like, nope.
Ralphie, this is where I need food.
I think he's still sleeping. Maybe.
Hi, baby. Hello. I love your overbite or underbite, rather.
Yeah. He's got an underbite and one turned paw.
Oh, what happened to you?
I don't know. He just came that way.
Hi, buddy. Hello. He's like, I gotta pass this awful little threshold here.
Yeah, he doesn't like different surfaces. He's scary that way.
Hi. You're very cute.
He has that down. He's not much good. He's not good for much else, but he is good.
So you say
cute.
he just got a haircut? Was his hair pretty long?
Yeah, he gets a groom every month.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
You don't let him go wild?
No.
Oh.
No. Hard for ticks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You
gotta do some rooting.
Yeah.
I like you. You're very cute.
I don't know anyone who's not liked him.
You're very cute.
He's a good boy. All right. Well, thank you very much, Lindsay.
Oh my gosh, thank you
It's
so
been
much
fun.
for having me.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yes, absolutely. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds
thanks.
good.
And check her out on Instagram. There's lots of helpful hints on there on how to.
Yes.
I see you just recently you taught people how to get the dog to like lay down.
Yes.
Different things like that.
Yeah. It's actually a really hard thing to get a dog to lay down. If they're insecure, they don't want to lower their defenses.
Right.
So it's more psychological than just a command, right?
Right. So that would be like a passive posture.
Yeah, because if
They have to trust you to go in that position.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't even train a dog to sit. It's all about the down. Lower your defenses. Put trust into me in this moment. So yeah. So I promote down. Down more than sit for a more confident dog. That's what I'm going to end with.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Great. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Wasn't painful?
I'm a little bit sweaty.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, or if you'd like to support us, please visit Refound Brewing Company at 573 Main Street, Kingston, or buy our product wherever it's available, including our Foolishly Optimistic IPA at your local NSS